Welcome to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. 9 innings away from that trophy being awarded to someone. It all boils down to this matchup tonight. After 2 weeks of tournament play, it's the U.S. and Puerto Rico vying for the title of World Baseball Classic champion. Welcome inside the broadcast booth. A big crowd, over 40,000 plus, expected at Dodger Stadium tonight for the last event in the tournament. And John, we could not have asked for a better final matchup.
Yeah, it's been a little over 2 weeks. We started this in Miami. We're now in LA. We've had a lot of exciting games, a lot of tense moments, and a lot of adrenaline and a lot of emotion. I cannot wait for tonight's game.
And for folks that have not been with us the entire 2+ weeks, let's rewind and show you how the two teams got here. For Team USA, they won 2 out of 3 in the first round in Miami, did it with some big offensive totals. They defeated the Dominican Republic on Saturday in San Diego in one of the most stirring games of the tournament. They clinched a semifinal berth with that win, finally slaying a team that had been in their way for so many runnings of the tournament. And then just last night, on a rainy night in Los Angeles, defeated Japan in a tightly contested one-run affair to get to the championship for the first time ever. U.S. pitching's been great at 2.47 overall ERA. Their starters have been even better, a 1.50 ERA for the starting staff, only 5 earned runs allowed.
Yeah, they've had a lot of momentum out of the starters, and it's really been the starting pitching that has, with the bullpen, has carried this ball club. Yeah. They've had some clutch hits, some clutch plays. It hasn't been a steamrolling kind of offensive show, but it's been the timing that has gotten them to this point.
For Puerto Rico, they really haven't been challenged in this tournament. Yes, they defeated the U.S. by a run, but they're 7-0 here undefeated. They were 3-0 in Miami, 3-0 in San Diego. 2 nights ago here, they beat the Netherlands, needed extra innings to do it on the Eddie Rosario game-winning sac fly in the 11th. They have really beaten up their opponents, outscoring them 55-18. And as good as U.S. pitching has been, Puerto Rico's pitching has been the best in the tournament statistically, and that might be one of the most underreported stories in the entire tournament this year.
I totally agree. I mean, maybe we overlooked them. Maybe it wasn't the MLB type staff that we were looking at, but it all boils down to Yadier Molina. He can take, I believe, any staff and massage him through the game and get him to do what he wants to do. He's been a one-man wrecking crew.
So usually when there's a rematch for the whole ball of wax, as there is tonight, the team that lost the earlier matchup is the one that was begging for the rematch. Not the case. Puerto Rico's already defeated the U.S., but they really wanted another crack at the Americans for the gold medal tonight, as we check in with our friend and colleague John Paul Morosi.
That's right, Matt. Leaving the ballpark Monday night after the win over the Dutch in the semifinal, I heard the Puerto Rican fans chanting, "Queremos USA, queremos USA." We want the USA. Tonight, they have them. It's Emancipation Day in Puerto Rico, a holiday there, a civic holiday, public holiday. No work, no school, just a lot of anticipation by an island nation of 3.5 million people, Matt, against a big country 100 times larger. Now on the U.S. side, a reluctant star in the dugout, Jim Leyland, the final game of his illustrious managerial career, likely going to the Hall of Fame. But of course, before the game, Matty, he didn't want to talk to us about himself. He wants to keep the focus on the players. But when I asked him what he's proudest of in this WBC, Matt, he said, they have become a team, my players have, in a very short period of time. And tonight, Matt, they play before more than 50,000 fans here at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, if it wasn't worth their while beforehand, certainly tonight's game validates everybody's participation, Jim Leyland included. Let's talk a little bit more about Puerto Rico and their outstanding infield in particular. We knew this was going to be a strength of the team at the beginning of the tournament, and all 3 of these guys have done exactly what folks thought they'd do.
They've been exciting. They've been emotional. They have, as a kid, watched this event, and they are now playing as stars. Think about that for a second. To represent your country at this ripe age and young age, and to be a star and wear it with pride. I have watched this tournament before, but I've never seen the intensity of representing your community and country like they have, and they know how much it means, and they're bleeding it on the field and living it each moment.
3 kids, and the future of Puerto Rico baseball is certainly bright in their hands. Let's get back to Team USA and their veteran skipper. Jim Leyland's won a World Series title, 22 years as a major league manager. He made a real impact on this tournament and made some key decisions just last night that was perhaps the difference in the one-run win. First of all, Tanner Roark got the start when a lot of other pitchers had called to avail their services to Team USA. Leland said, no, Roark's been with us all year. How about the decision to put the contact play on in the 8th, which led directly to what would be the game-winning run? And then Pat Neshek finished out a threat in the last of the 8th, that next half inning, against a power hitter, kind of a dice roll by Jim Leland, and it all worked out great.
Listen, managing is hard, but managing a WBC is impossible. All the different things that come with it. This manager has gone with his gut. He's gone with commitment. He's gone to players who have stuck through this and been from the beginning, and he's had tough decisions. Not everybody's played as much, but everybody has bought in. It's why the U.S. is here, and it's why Leland and every move that he's made has contributed to this success.
And JP, he had a lot of voices in his ear about his lineup tonight, but he's staying with his core group.
He is, Matt. And again, I think a lot of questions were about Nolan Arenado there in the cleanup spot. He struggled at times during this tournament. Looks like he's pressing, but Leland wants to stay with Arenado at third base. Maybe this is the night for him to break out here in his native Southern California. Elsewhere in the lineup, he really has, Matt, stuck with the guys who have gotten him there. So much conversation about the rule changes in this tournament so far. The designated pitching pool, only one roster move in total, Matt, since the tournament began, with the addition of Mark Melanson, who of course pitched last night. But again, it's basically the same 9 guys. No Goldschmidt, no Murphy in the lineup tonight. It's the 9 guys that Jim Leland's had to take him to this point.
It's a pretty good bench, and it's such a good bench that that they can't crack the starting lineup. The starting lineup is that much better, and again, it's Jim Leland's decision. He is playing his guys in this thing despite the voices, despite the restrictions placed on him in terms of pitching, people suggesting different lineup combinations. Leland going with his group. That includes Nolan Arenado staying in the middle of the lineup tonight.
Yeah, and I think that unity, the guys growing together quickly, is something that's impressed Jim Leland. I also think the subdued lineup and atmosphere of the U.S. team, you're going to see that crack, because the emotion of the other team, Puerto Rico, is going to be on fire. Look for U.S. to have a lot more emotion, playing with a little bit more with their hair on fire, and see if they can knock off Puerto Rico, which no one's been able to do so far.
You know, Puerto Rico fans started this tournament in Miami with a full head of steam. They were in from the moment the first pitch was thrown. U.S. fans have come aboard, and the train has gotten a little more powerful. Everybody is in full swing tonight. A huge crowd anticipated at Dodger Stadium. Puerto Rico looking for their first World Baseball Classic title after finishing as runners-up to the Dominican in 2013. And the Americans, believe it or not, here for the first time, have already gone as far as they've ever gone in this tournament. We're back with more pregame coverage from Los Angeles right after this. The World Baseball Classic. You play for your country. And welcome to Dodger Stadium. The U.S. and Puerto Rico, one last piece of business to crown a champion in the 2017 World Baseball Classic. A packed crowd anticipated here in Los Angeles tonight as we get to baseball. And before the lineups on the first pitch, let's send it down to the field for ceremonies and Dodger PA announcer Todd Lights.
And now, it's time for the starting lineup for tonight's matchup between the United States of America and Puerto Rico.
Ahora, es momento para las alineaciones titulares del juego de esta noche entre los Estados Unidos de América y Puerto Rico.
First for the visiting team, Team USA.
Primero, para el equipo estadounidense.
The manager of the U.S. is Jim Leland.
El dirigente de los Estados Unidos es Jim Leland.
Leading off, second baseman, Ian Kinsler.
Comenzando, jugador de segunda base, Ian Kinsler.
Batting second, center fielder, Adam Jones.
Segundo bateador, jardinero central, Adam Jones.
Batting third, in left field, Christian Yelich.
Tercer bateador, jardinero izquierdo, Christian Yelich.
Batting fourth, at third base, Nolan Arenado.
Cuarto bateador, jugador de tercera base, Nolan Arenado.
Batting fifth, first baseman, Eric Hosmer.
Quinto bateador, jugador de primera base, Eric Hosmer.
Batting sixth, right fielder, Andrew McCutchen.
Sexto bateador, jardinero izquierdo, Andrew McCutchen.
Batting seventh, the shortstop, Brandon Crawford.
Séptimo bateador, para corto, Brandon Crawford.
Batting eighth, designated hitter, Giancarlo Stanton.
Octavo bateador, bateador designado, Giancarlo Stanton.
Batting ninth, catcher, Jonathan Lucroy.
Noveno bateador, receptor, Jonathan Lucroy.
And on the mound, pitcher, Marcus Stroman.
Y en el montículo, lanzador, Marcus Stroman.
Fans, let's hear it for Team USA.
Un aplauso para los Estados Unidos de América.
And now it's time for the starting lineup for Puerto Rico.
Y ahora llegó el momento para la alineación titular del equipo puertorriqueño.
The manager of Puerto Rico is Edwin Rodriguez.
El dirigente de Puerto Rico es Edwin Rodríguez.
Leading off, left fielder, Angel Pagan.
Comenzando, jardinero izquierdo, Ángel Pagán.
Batting second, shortstop, Francisco Lindor.
Segundo bateador, para corto, Francisco Lindor.
Batting third baseman, Carlos Correa.
Tercer bateador, jugador de tercera base, Carlos Correa.
Batting fourth, the designated hitter, Carlos Beltran.
Cuarto bateador, bateador designado, Carlos Beltrán.
Batting fifth, catcher, Yadier Molina.
Quinto bateador, receptor, Yadier Molina.
Batting sixth, at second base, Javier Baez.
Sexto bateador, jugador de segunda base, Javier Baez.
Batting seventh, in right field, Eddie Rosario.
Séptimo bateador, jardinero derecho, Eddie Rosario.
Batting eighth, first baseman, TJ Rivera.
Octavo bateador, jugador de primera base, TJ Rivera.
Batting ninth, center fielder, Quique Hernandez.
Noveno bateador, jardinero central, Quique Hernández.
And on the mound, pitcher, Seth Lugo.
Y en el montículo, lanzador, Seth Lugo.
Fans, let's hear it for Team Puerto Rico.
Un aplauso para el equipo de Puerto Rico.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise and kindly remove your hats as we pay tribute to tonight's teams with their national anthems.
Damas y caballeros, les pedimos que ahora se pongan de pie y quiten sus gorras para orar los himnos nacionales de los equipos de esta noche.
First, the national anthem of Puerto Rico.
Primero, el himno nacional de Puerto Rico.
And now, the national anthem of the United States of America.
Y ahora, el himno nacional de los Estados Unidos de América.
Moments away from the starting lineups and the opening pitch in Los Angeles. It all boils down to one last game. Puerto Rico and the U.S. to determine a World Baseball Classic champion. And the final matchup is set. Welcome to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. Tonight, under beautiful blue skies at Dodger Stadium, our championship match, Team USA and Puerto Rico. We welcome you inside the broadcast booth in Los Angeles with Hall of Famer John Smoltz, Matt Vasgersian, and JP Morosi with us as well. It all boils down to this, and as we said earlier, John, a great matchup. Two teams familiar with one another, two teams filled with major league superstars.
Absolutely. Both winning tight games to get here, both trying to win their first WBC. It has everything you can imagine, all the superstars that you think that Major League Baseball has to offer. It is going to be a lot of fun.
Plenty of veteran leadership on Team Puerto Rico. 16 combined all-star appearances for Carlos Beltran and Yadi Molina, and they've played in every single running of this tournament.
Yeah, and they're led by veterans, and they have passed it on to the young superstars, and they have paved the way for a country that is so proud to see this team play for a championship.
Carlos Beltran standing by with our JP Morosi.
Thanks, Matty. Carlos, you've heard the Puerto Rican anthem so many times in your life. What was special about hearing it now in this amazing setting?
It's beautiful, honestly. Just to have the fans in our behind, you know, it really means a lot to us. So the fact that they came here and, you know, and support us, that's amazing. You know, we want to really win for Puerto Rico. Our people in our country are really, you know, doing everything they can to watch these games, and we just want to go out there and do a good job for them.
Carlos, about that, what would it mean for your team to win this game for the people of Puerto Rico?
It will mean everything. You know, I think as a country, like I said before, you know, we're going through tough times. The fact that we're giving happiness to Puerto Rico throughout the game of baseball really means a lot. The crime really went down. There's a lot of good things happening in Puerto Rico right now, and all because of the game of baseball.
Gracias y suerte.
Gracias, hermano.
Matty, back to you.
JP, thanks. Let's talk about the starting pitching matchup. A couple of right-handers who have thrown in this event before. In fact, it's a rematch of a game that Puerto Rico got the best of the U.S. in, and it was the only rough start by Marcus Stroman or any U.S. starter in the entire tournament.
Yeah, you're talking about 6 straight hits. Not all of them were hit hard, but they were hits nonetheless, and it's going to be sweet revenge, I think, for Marcus Stroman. That's the attitude he's going to have. And Seth Lugo, look, he's trying to not only find a spot on his future team with the Mets, but he's trying to do something that the WBC in Puerto Rico has not been acquainted with, and that's a championship.
You wonder for the U.S., and they saw Lugo just 5 nights ago, same for the Puerto Rico hitters, if this one feels a little bit different from a lineup standpoint, because the last couple of games for the USA have been low-scoring pitching and defense.
They have, and they've struggled coming out of the gate, and I think that's the formula that I don't know if it can continue. I think one of these teams has to make a statement and get an early lead and let their bullpen go to work. but the U.S. has to get a little bit more out of the front three guys, and I think tonight is a chance for a lot of guys who have not had a great offensive tournament to break out of it.
There have been a couple of U.S. hitters that have had great offensive tournaments, however, and Eric Hosmer is one of them. Some big hits, 9 hits to tie for a share of the lead for the U.S. batters. A 375 tournament average. He's been great.
He's been great, and not everybody has their timing now, but he seems to be locked in. He is aggressive early, makes contact late. He's come up with some huge hits, and of course, he's no stranger to big moments, winning a world championship and going to back-to-back World Series with the Kansas City Royals.
And J.P. Morosi is standing by with him. J.P.
Thanks, Matty. Eric, you have played in 2 World Series. How about this atmosphere tonight?
Same type of atmosphere, it really is. You know, this is why we play the game, you know, to be in moments like this. So we have come a long way. We still got a lot of work to do, but we're ready for the challenge, and it's exciting to be in a game to see you know, this is exciting and with this atmosphere.
Eric, one more chance at Seth Lugo. What adjustments can you now make as a team after seeing him last week?
Well, you know, I think it's kind of the same for both him and us. We both think we have an advantage because we've seen him once. So we just got to stick to our approach. You know, we believe in us as an offense, and if we can stick to our approach and stay in our zone, we feel that we'll be successful.
Eric, thanks. Best of luck.
Okay, appreciate it.
Matty, back to you.
JP, thanks. And Eric Hosmer has been in the middle of the Team U.S. lineup for the entire tournament, part of a very decorated group of United States hitters. As you see, Puerto Rico in a team prayer, as they have been prior to each one of their matchups. Back to the U.S., they're playing the roles of visitors in this one. We mentioned the 22 combined all-star appearances. Hey, why let us tell you about this lineup? The U.S. lineup by the U.S. lineup, presented by Wall.
This is Ian Kinsler, second base.
Adam Jones, center fielder.
Christian Yelich, left field.
Nolan Arenado, third base.
Eric Hosmer, first base.
Andrew McCutcheon, right field.
Brandon Crawford, shortstop.
I'm Giancarlo Stanton, DH.
Jonathan Lucroy, catcher.
As we mentioned, it has been more or less the same group for Jim Leyland throughout the tournament. A handful of these guys having started now all 8 games en route to what they hope is a tournament win and a gold medal at the conclusion of play tonight. Team Puerto Rico done with their pregame prayer meeting. The umpires for tonight's gold medal game in Los Angeles. It is an international crew, as it has been throughout the tournament. 3 U.S. American umpires. Eric Cooper has the plate. Lance Barksdale and Rob Draker with him. Byung-Ju Kim from Korea, Edgar Estevición and Trevor Grieve make out the rest of the international umpiring crew tonight.
The interesting thing is going to be the theme with Yadier Molina behind home plate. How many strikes can he steal? It seems like that has been something he's been gifting his own pitchers and frustrating the opposing lineup. Be all eyes on the strike zone tonight.
Edwin Rodriguez was relaxed and confident before the game when we met with him. His second WBC managerial stint. He has spent a lifetime in baseball, had a couple of years as the Florida Marlins manager. He spent his life in player development, minor league coaching and scouting, and on the other side in the other dugout, the veteran big league skipper Jim Leyland.
Jim Leyland telling us it doesn't matter what game he's managed, before every game he has butterflies, and I'm sure those are a little bit bigger today, whether he'll admit it or not, knowing he's got a chance to do something no USA team has done.
Yadier Molina and Team Puerto Rico taking the field as Seth Lugo gets ready for this big assignment tonight. The 27-year-old former 34th round draft choice by the Mets in 2011 out of Centenary College in Louisiana, now at Division III school. His last outing was against this same U.S. lineup 5 nights ago, and he threw the ball very well into the 6th inning. One of the longest starts ever by a Puerto Rico pitcher in the tournament's history. And he's looking for his 3rd win in as many starts in the tournament.
Well, here's the things that I think are going to be very important. Of course, stating the obvious, early success. That has been something the Puerto Rican team has been able to do. They've scored a lot of runs and haven't given up much. And don't wake the USA up, meaning the guys who are struggling, keep them struggling. Don't allow them to get fired up. And then the curveball, which I think is such a weapon. He has tremendous spin rate on that curveball. But this guy is under the radar, had a great year last year, very smooth in his mechanics and unfazed by this atmosphere.
Yeah, not a lot of people around the Mets saw Seth Lugo's success coming last year, because prior to his call-up, he really struggled in the Pacific Coast League. We know that to be a hitter-friendly circuit, but still a 7.28 ERA didn't exactly scream call-up. Yet, born of necessity, Lugo got a chance in New York, and he's competing for that number 5 starter spot in spring for the Mets this year.
He has, and I'm sure they've been watching him from afar and been pretty impressed. Four-seam fastball, slider, curveball, changeup is what he's going to show the USA team. And his four-seam fastball has one of the lowest averages against last year for a guy who really doesn't throw 95 or above.
If you're just coming into the tournament the last couple of days, the atmosphere in the stands is something other than what you see during the course of the Major League season. The international component of this event has made it a lot of fun for us, and tonight fans of both Puerto Rico and the U.S. are here in force. Puerto Rico here by virtue of an extra innings win over the Netherlands 2 nights ago. The U.S. edged one of the heavy tournament favorites, Japan, last night. Two teams looking for their first ever WBC tournament win. First pitch of the night to Ian Kinsler, bounced out to third. Carlos Correa's got it, and we are underway tonight.
Well, that'll help the jitters of a starting pitcher whenever you get a one-pitch out. I think the U.S. team has always had this approach of slow and steady wins the race. Well, that's not going to be the other side. You get the other side excited. They don't need to have much going on to be excited. They're excited from the very first pitch. Don't create any extra momentum for them. And the U.S. hoping to get off to a better start than they have in previous games.
Here's Adam Jones, one of the U.S. leaders in the event. He homered against Seth Lugo 5 nights ago. Adam is 7 for 31 in the tournament, but it seems like all 7 hits have been meaningful, impactful hits in this event. Drove in the winning run in the top of the 8th inning last night. Homered in back-to-back games in San Diego. Had the walk-off hit to beat Colombia in what seems like a game that was played a month and a half ago in Miami. This is the impact that Adam Jones has had on the tournament. This was the walk-off winner against Guillermo Moscoso a couple of weeks ago at Marlins Park. We mentioned the back-to-back home runs in San Diego, one against Venezuela, and then the dramatic catch against the Dominican Republic. He added a home run against Puerto Rico's Seth Lugo. Faces him again here tonight. A ground ball chance for Lindor. And last year's Gold Glove Award winner at shortstop in the American League makes for round number 2.
Well, if you expect this middle infield or even the corner infielders to make an error, you got a better chance of finding a wallet in the mall. This is something that we've come to getting used to seeing. They can flat out use that glove and use it better than most of the people we ever see play these positions.
Here's Christian Yelich now, 7 for 24 in the tournament, a .292 hitter this last couple of weeks. Yelich started hot with a great series of games in the Miami portion of the tournament. He has homered in his career against Seth Lugo. And takes a strike. One of a handful of Southern Californians back in his home part of the country for these championship games. 2-1. Two-time All-Star Nolan Arenado waiting on deck. 2 out, bases empty to start the night. Into the left field corner. A base hit for Yelich. He's trying for second. Forgot up and throwing. It's too late.
Well, this this guy can hit, but he can also run. As soon as he hits it, he's thinking 2, and that's the only way you're going to get to second base is to think 2 out of the box. He gets there, makes a good slide, stays on the bag. Of course, you got to beware of Baez. He doesn't even have to look at you to make a tag, by the way.
Carlos Correa playing well off the bag, and Yelich taking advantage of that space and beating the throw into second for a hustle 2-out double. Nolan Arenado now just 3 for 26 in the tournament. 2 of his 3 hits, however, came against Seth Lugo 5 nights ago. There had been much discussion after last night's loss to Japan about what Jim Leyland would do with his lineup for the championship tonight. I don't think Jim ever wavered in his commitment to his core group. And despite Arenado's struggles, which have been pronounced by his own standards, he's still out there tonight batting cleanup for Team USA.
Well, no one has to tell Nolan that he's struggling, but if you drop him in the lineup like everybody from the outside thinks you should, then you send a really, really defeated message. And maybe he was hoping by showing confidence in the 4th spot, he'd get a big hit tonight.
Jim Leyland is also very aware that as of tonight, you know, this team turns into a pumpkin and everybody goes back to their major league employers. And the ramifications on what that may or may not have done to Nolan Arenado if he sat him tonight or if he dropped him in the order. What are you doing to the Rockies? What are you doing to Arenado's head in the moments before opening day? So Nolan batting cleanup again tonight. And after all, this is the player who's led Major League Baseball in RBIs the last 2 seasons. It's not like Jim Leyland is endorsing a guy with no track record.
If you haven't watched a lot of these games, I'm going to give you some tips. There will be a lot of meetings at the mound before this game's over. The other thing to watch, Nolan Arenado's feet have been getting aggressively faster as he tap dances in the box. It looks a little quieter early, but he's got a lot of movement with those feet before he hits. See, that's a good sign, because that's his timing mechanism. It may look like he's fidgety and really anxious, and that's by part of his problem. He has been anxious in expanding the strike zone.
Ball and 2 strikes to Arenado. Yelich at second with 2 gone. Lugo gives him a look, and Arenado strikes out. A runner left stranded to start tonight for Seth Lugo. Let's get the info right from the players themselves. Puerto Rico's starting lineup presented by Wall.
Angel Pagan, left field.
Francisco Lindor, shortstop. Carlos Correa, third base.
Carlos Beltran, DH.
My name is Yadier Molina, catcher.
Javier Baez, second base.
Eddie Rosario, right fielder.
TJ Rivera, first base.
Kike Hernandez, third base, shortstop, second base, first base, left field, center field, right field.
Kike is playing center field tonight, and LA Dodger, once this is over, he is thrilled to be here representing his major league employer and his country for a chance at a championship. Angel Pagan leading things off for Team Puerto Rico against tonight's U.S. starter. Blue Jays opening day ace 25-year-old Marcus Stroman on the mound for the Americans.
He may not be very big in stature, but he pitches big. He pitches like he's 6'5" and the king of the hill, and that's the attitude you got to have when you're on the mound.
5 nights ago in San Diego, Angel Pagan opened the first inning against Marcus Stroman and had the first of 6 straight singles. Before folks could blink, the U.S. trailed 4-0. Stroman looking for a cleaner start tonight. And so far, so good for Team USA, 1 away.
Well, for him, it's going to be pretty simple. 3 things that I think will be important. Sweet revenge. Have that in your mindset. The necessary adjustments you have to make on your off speed. That was part of the problem in that first inning. scored upon outing and then lock in as long as you can and turn it over to the bullpen. I think for this young man, he knows the adjustments he had to make. His sinker was up, but more importantly, his slider was flat in the first inning. You're already seeing a very good sinker to the first hitter.
Here is Cleveland postseason hero Francisco Lindor, a 2016 All-Star, the switch hitting shortstop, in from the left side. 1 for 3 against Stroman 5 nights ago. He kept the line moving with a base hit in that 4-run first. And Lindor rolls over a ground ball for Kinsler. 2 quick outs for Stroman tonight.
Well, obviously Marcus Stroman is very athletic. You can tell by his delivery, but nobody that I remember at his size, he uses his body so well. It divvies the blow of just using your shoulder or elbow. The body and the legs all absorb the shock, and when he's going good, he's in real balance, just like every pitcher is when they land and their arm is in great position to deliver the best pitch they can.
From upstate New York, and in fact the only cold weather kid on Team USA this year. Here's Carlos Correa now, the 2015 American League Rookie of the Year. He's had a great tournament, as you can see. 3 home runs, 9 runs batted in. Scored the game-winning run in extra innings 2 nights ago to get Puerto Rico here this evening.
Something you said, very important, cold weather. It is a blessing to have been where he's from because he didn't play year-round baseball, which is becoming a curse for a lot of young players, thinking that's the key.
Travel ball being what it is, and kids that specialize in baseball only 12 months out of the year. Marcus Stroman was a multi-sport athlete growing up, as was the man at the plate, Carlos Correa. Carlos was a volleyball and basketball star as a prepster, but identified as a baseball prodigy rather early in his life.
Rather interesting take.
Thought he had time taken. It's a ball and 2 strikes from Stroman with 2 gone. Back to Stroman on the mound. 3 ground ball outs open the night for Marcus Stroman, already off to a better start as compared to 5 nights ago and early in LA tonight. We've got no score. On MLB Network is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And sponsored in part by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Go get rewarded now at bestwestern.com. And by the all-new Alfa Romeo Giulia. Eric Hosmer leads off the U.S. half of the second. Hosmer, McCutchen, and Crawford against Seth Lugo, who stranded a 1-out double in his half of the first inning tonight. An all-star for the first time in 2016. Eric Hosmer celebrated the event by just going out and winning the All-Star Game's MVP honors in San Diego. He had one of the hits against Seth Lugo 5 nights ago. 1 for 2 with an RBI in the 1-run loss. 2-1. So we mentioned when we went on the air, Eric Hosmer, one of the 2 American hitters with a team high 9 hits through the first 7 games. 2-2 to him now.
He's got a little hitting streak going too.
Sits safely in 6 in a row as you see Andrew McCutchen waiting on deck. You know, it's not so much about quantity in a short tournament like this, where in a best case scenario your team gets to play 8 games, as these 2 teams are. It's when the hits come. And the timing for Hosmer's been great. So has it been for the man on deck. There's ball 4. Andrew McCutchen has 3 hits in the tournament, but 2 of them have been huge. And let's wind you back to San Diego. 1 out in the 8th inning on Saturday. A 2-run double that made the U.S. lead 6-3. And then last night, 2 out in the 4th inning. Drove in the game's first run with an RBI base hit. There haven't been a lot of hits for Andrew in the tournament, but the 5-time All-Star has come through with a couple of really big ones. He's got Hosmer aboard to open the second.
Kutch didn't like that one. Ball down, but he thought it was in. Close.
Another one on the inside corner, 0-2.
This is the theme. We talked about it in the open. Watch how many pitches Yadi gets off the plate. And that one was off the plate. The way he sets up, the way he catches it.
And McCutchen swings and misses. It's 2 strikeouts for Lugo tonight.
Pitching's a lot easier if you can expand the strike zone and make the hitter worry about what is off the plate, and now he's got to protect, and he swings on something that's off the plate the other side, looking in and missing a pitch by that much.
Here's 2015 All-Star Brandon Crawford, 9 for 21 in the tournament so far. Crawford's driven in 4. Yanks that one deep but fouled and right. Brandon also has a 6-game hitting streak alive tonight. And he was the guy on the contact play yesterday that scored what would be the game-winning run. Going on contact. Without the bobble, he might be out at the plate. But that was the difference on a sloppy, wet track yesterday in Los Angeles. And I shouldn't say sloppy. It was wet.
It was wet.
0-2 the count to Crawford here. I don't know that Brandon will ever be cheered in this ballpark ever again when he goes back to his day job as a Giant. And I was kind of waiting for what the crowd would do to him when his name was announced during the ceremonies on the field. Folks have put away their team allegiances for the moment.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest rivalries in sports. Giants Dodgers.
Crawford lines to shortstop, Lindor to first, and they're unable to double off Hosmer, though it was close. Edwin Rodriguez comes out to have a conversation with the home plate umpire and crew chief Eric Cooper.
Ball squared up, good on by Lindor. And they're going to have a look at this, but it's going to be really close. We can't tell by that angle, but it's going to be really close.
There were 5 crew chief reviews in last night's semifinal game between Japan and the U.S.
What's your early call on what you've seen so far?
I'm going to say this one's going to be confirmed, but I don't know that we got a really definitive look, and by that virtue alone, I don't know that it's going to be overturned. He's safe.
It's when the hand gets to that base, right? You can't see. Right. Ooh, man, I think his hand's up in the air.
That one makes it look a little different.
It's awfully close.
Again, the review rules in the World Baseball Classic here in the semifinals and certainly in the finals, there are no umpire or there are no manager challenges per se, but managers can request a crew chief review as often as they'd like in rules that mimic those in play during the major league season.
And what helps is they're only looking at one game. You know, during the season, they got a bunch of games going on, and they can focus on this one game for the replays. We're going to get our call soon.
And the call is confirmed. Hosmer's safe, so no double play.
Too close to overturn.
Yep. You know, you get the idea by Edwin Rodriguez. He'd much prefer Giancarlo Stanton leading off inning with the bases empty than having an opportunity with a man aboard.
Lugo just can't leave anything middle in. Right now, the success on Stanton has been away and up, but nothing in. If he gets that pitch in, that's what you saw, that mammoth home run in San Diego that got out in a hurry.
Yeah. Nothing in one to the Miami Marlins all-time home run leader. A ball and a strike now. That's a plateau that Giancarlo has reached in just 7 years in the big leagues. 208 career home runs, most in franchise history. He's got Hosmer aboard with 2 gone. He likes to hit the ball here too. 19 games at Dodger Stadium. He's hit 9 home runs, including this monster shot that got out of the building.
See where that pitch was? That's the pitch you can't have if you're on the mound. He kind of, I don't want to say bails and swings, but he opens up and loves that pitch.
Well, went right through the back of the pavilion. That puts him in pretty heady company too. The likes of Willie Stargell, Mark McGwire, Mike Piazza. Not many get out of here altogether. This is a big ballpark. But again, Stan's hit 9 of them in only 19 career games against the Dodgers here in LA. Something about that home cooking. 2-2.
Such a good pitch. I'm sure they met about it. Yachty was almost standing up, and you saw Stanton wanted to go after it.
Molina sets up way off the corner, and it's a full count now. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Stanton.
See, that right there is too big of quadrants. When you throw up and a hitter's almost looking to go after it, you can't bounce something. I don't think a hitter's going to swing at 2 different planes that big of a difference. So that's a wasted pitch.
2 out. Hosmer will be running off first. There he goes. The 3-2 home struck him out. 3 early strikeouts for Lugo as he strands another in the second and keeps it scoreless early tonight. Welcome back to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. With Hall of Famer John Smoltz and J.P. Morosi, Matt Vasgersian on a brilliant night in Los Angeles. Rain yesterday, but no sign of precipitation tonight. Nothing but blue skies all day, and a perfect night for baseball in March.
So you can use that word. I can't.
What's that, March?
No, precipitation.
Why's that?
I butchered it 3 different times trying to say it.
Oh, you should have heard me last night talking about the Japanese lineup. You were right here. Here's Carlos Beltran leading things off here in the Puerto Rico half of the second. J.P. Morosi visited with Carlos before the game started tonight and discussed the fact that everybody on the island seems to be inside and watching the World Baseball Classic. As you can see, the U.S. overload the right side against the veteran switch hitter. JP, I want to have you expand on that a little bit.
Well, they are, Matt. And again, the El Nuevo Dia is the newspaper of record in Puerto Rico, and a police spokesperson told that paper this week that basically the list of crimes in Puerto Rico is practically blank. The spokesman said there have been no murders reported since Friday, and really it's part of it and really coming together, Matt, for the whole island. It's this close-knit community, 3.5 million residents there, really 100 times smaller than the U.S. And when I spoke today with Alex Cora, the GM of this team, Alex said we have to take this positive momentum aside from baseball, regardless of tonight's result, and continue it now after this game is over.
Yeah, 3.5 million, and I guess for context, 40 million Californians. It's a small place, but it's got a huge baseball culture, and they are into this event. 2 balls and 2 strikes. They count to Carlos Beltran. Beltran, Molina, and Baez, the middle of the order here against Marcus Stroman, who worked through Puerto Rico in order to start his night. Major League veteran Alex Cora, the GM of Team Puerto Rico, worked the phones furiously in the last couple of years to put together a really good club. And there's ball 4 to Beltran. In fact, JP, one of the phone calls he made was to the guy that pitches for the U.S. tonight.
Very true, Matt. And in fact, Puerto Rico had recruited 3 different players who are on Team USA's roster right now. Marcus Stroman, Nolan Arenado, and Michael Givens. And Alex Cora actually has been worrying about 3 different teams this wintertime, Matt. He was the GM of Caguas, the Winter League club that actually won the Puerto Rican Winter League and the Caribbean Series. And then, of course, later this week, Matt will go back to his usual job as a new coaching staff member of the Houston Astros.
Busy guy. Here's Yadi Molina now after the leadoff walk.
Got to locate that sinker again. This is a good double play guy. Yadi loves to sit on a pitch and a location, and he'll look for that particular pitch and try to lift the ball. But if he gets a good sinker down, he hits it on the ground, and they'll turn 2 more than likely. Yadi has a game plan in everything that he does. It's not just behind the plate. He's improved his offense dramatically.
On the ground to shortstop. Crawford to Kinsler. Back to Hosmer. The routine double play.
.94-mile-an-hour sinker. That's what happens. You get revved up to try to get that pitch out in front, and the late movement just misses the barrel. And like I said, if it's hit on the ground, more than likely a double play. If you like big, aggressive swings, this is your guy at the plate, Baez.
Javi Baez has had a great tournament, making an impact on both sides of the scorecard. At the plate, 8 for 24 with a home run. And he's responsible for some unbelievable theatrics defensively in this series as well.
See how low Lucroy sets that target. It's inviting to a guy who loves to pitch down. And of course, on a breaking ball, you want to envision, as a pitcher, you want to envision the end of the break to get right there. And that's exactly where that pitch was, right where the glove was. Lucroy, one of the best behind the plate at blocking and handling that position.
Oh, and 2 the count to Javier Baez. If you're looking for him to shorten up with 2 strikes, you're going to be disappointed. 1-2. Baez had a base hit against Stroman 5 nights ago. Balls and 2 strikes. Javi Baez can run too. He's stolen 3 bases so far in the tournament, including a key bag against the Netherlands 2 nights ago. He made this happen himself, twisting and contorting and ultimately avoiding the tag of Xander Bogaerts.
Originally ruled out, but then overturned with a challenge.
Full count now to him. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, again, sorry, Matt. Again, he's just not thrown enough pitches to a guy who can expand the zone at the height high enough to entice him. That was close. He checked the swing, but the ball in the dirt is starting too early down, and Baez is recognizing.
Left-handed batter Eddie Rosario next. The payoff pitch. He struck him out. Buried that breaking ball and got Baez to chum on it. First strikeout of the night for Marcus Stroman. Still scoreless at Dodger Stadium. Meanwhile, back in Los Angeles with John Smoltz and JP Morosi, a scoreless tie early on in this gold medal game, the championship game between the U.S. and Puerto Rico. Each team trying for their first ever WBC title. In fact, the Americans have never been this far before. Here in the third, they've got Jonathan Lucroy, then the top of the order, Kinsler and Jones against Seth Lugo, who has struck out 3 early on tonight. Jonathan's caught 3 games so far in the tournament for Team USA, 3 for 11. Fades a pop-up on the right side that'll get out of play.
Just keep waiting for the U.S. to try to string some hits together early. It's been late heroics, late tight games lately. That formula's been working, but as we mentioned in the open, Puerto Rico has had the best pitching staff in the WBC thus far in the tournament.
Yeah, kind of an underreported element of their success. Seth Lugo's been great, 2-0, 2.45 ERA in 2 starts. The 1-2 to Lucroy. Into center field, a base hit. Leadoff hitters aboard for the 2nd straight inning for Team USA.
Well, StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services, is going to talk about what Lugo does best, and what he can do is spin a baseball better than anybody. This breaking ball is one of the best in the game. You see the spin rate, 34.03. We're going to give you some context to that in a minute. But his spinning breaking ball is so tight that it starts in places and makes hitters look foolish. You see one of the best Chicago has. Swings over the top of it. That spin rate right there, as compared to the rest, there's no one really close to him. Seth Lugo knows how to spin a baseball and break it from 12 to 6.
0-1 the count to Ian Kinsler. Kinsler grounded out to open the ball game. You know, it's interesting that those lists, that name you saw rather, with Lugo and the other guys on that list, Jeremy Hellickson, Tyler Skaggs, spin rate doesn't necessarily translate into automatic wins. The throw to first is very close, and Lucroy's just able to get back.
Well, he definitely was trying to get the best jump he could. That was close. Woo.
Kinsler with a swing and a drive, well hit to center field. Hernandez is back, and leaps, and it's gone!
Well, there's some of the early offense the U.S. was looking for, and finally a sinker that's up. He has not thrown many sinkers up, but this one is up over the plate, and Kinsler does not miss it.
The 4-time All-Star. His first home run of the tournament. Now Adam Jones.
Watch where he sets up, and watch where the ball is. Right down central, up. Kinsler has done this so much in his career. That's about, I don't know, he won't hit a lot to the right of center. He likes to pull the ball a lot, but that pitch was out over the plate. Lugo was hoping for an Adam Jones-like catch out of Kiki Hernandez.
Wave and a miss by Jones, who falls behind 0-2. Ian Kinsler is such a complete player. He might not steal bases the way he did early in his career at Texas. Over 200 home runs, 1,000 runs scored. Plays great defense. Last year winning his first Gold Glove. Just a guy you can pencil in and never worry about. Jim Leyland knows all about that, having managed him in Detroit.
You know, really, since coming to Detroit has been, I don't want to say a philosophical change, but in Texas, it seemed like everything he was trying to do was pull, pull, pull. And now you're seeing more coverage and more of a complete hitter, in my opinion, as he matures and now as he plays for the Tigers.
34 years old and entering the final year of his 5-year contract. That's the Rangers deal that'll finish out in Detroit. He'll be back on the market for another multi-year deal at the end of the season.
And does he remind you of a 34-year-old player?
No.
Right. That's my point. Keeps himself in good shape. That's the one thing you're going to hear statistically is what his age is and how that's going to be a downturn towards what would be another contract for him.
I see what you're saying. You're looking at the paper instead of the player there in terms of, you know, look at the player. He doesn't play like a 34-year-old.
Correct.
Full count to Adam Jones. And there's ball 4. Lugo just missed with a fastball that time. Running into a little difficulty here in the third. Single homer base on balls.
Well, here's where the managing gets tough. You want your pitcher to give you 5 innings at least, but you also don't want the game to get out from you. So this inning will tell a lot on whether they get activity in the bullpen and how long they'll be able to stay with Lugo. It is an elimination game. As much as you'd love to see him pitch and get his pitch count up, the goal is to win.
Christian Yelich hit a 2-out double back in the first of 3 U.S. hits early on tonight. Lugo still looking for his first out this inning. Quick throw into first on Jones.
One thing we've seen Jim Leyland willing to do the last 5 games is put his players in motion. It hasn't always worked, but he's not going to just sit back.
Yeah, Team USA got off to a little bit of a clunky start with the running game in Miami. There was some missed execution early on hit and run plays. One and one.
And understandably so, some missed signs. When a new team gets together, it's kind of difficult to get everybody on the same page with all the time. So I think they're more in sync now and understanding what each person's supposed to do when they get on base and when they're at the plate, try to make contact when a hit and run is called.
A little larger lead for Jones here, and a swing and a miss by Yelich to put him behind 1-2. Nolan Arenado waiting on deck for Team USA. Yelich is rung up on a ball he thought was up and away.
I'm a pitcher, and I don't think that's a strike. Let's see where this ball ends up. Well, it shows that it is a strike.
That's the first out of the inning. Now it's Nolan Arenado. He was the first of 4 strikeout victims. A breaking ball starts him with a swing and a miss. Oh, and 2.
You know, it's got to be frustrating. You want so bad. You see that swing, you see his head coming off the ball, helmet almost falling off. You want so bad to get locked in and feel that contact again.
That one bounces away from Molina. A wild pitch puts a runner at second with 1 gone.
I used to have a line where I'd tell Maddox, just basically telling him, as we see this curveball really spike. And they used to, you know, this line I would give Maddox is basically the ultimate compliment. I said, how hard is it to pitch when every time you're pitching it's 0-2? Because he would get 0-2 on every hitter. He was that good. And it feels like it's 0-2 when you come to the plate when you're struggling. And every pitch is a perfect pitch and you're not able. You just feel like you're behind.
Swing and a miss by Arenado.
Well, StatCast powered by Amazon Web Services going to take a look at this home run by Kinsler. Middle in, but it was middle, and he did not miss it. He knows as soon as he hits it, that pitch was not coming back. 100 miles an hour off the bat, 100 feet, and an early lead for USA.
5 strikeouts for Seth Lugo. He's already induced 10 swings and misses, and now it's Eric Hosmer. You know, you get the sense that if Arenado had been able to kind of continue the inning in terms of a base hit or a base on balls, that may have expedited the departure of Lugo, because they've got a left-hander and a right-hander up in the bullpen for Puerto Rico, and it may have been Giovanni Soto's hitter to get Hosmer. Here comes Ricky Bonas now. There's Soto along with Hiram Burgos.
I think part of this conversation is going to be talking about base open, who's on deck, and just stay back a little bit more with your breaking ball. He's getting out in front and really spinning it. We talked about how much he can spin it, but a lot of them are bouncing. His curveball so good he can start it belt high and almost get it to the shin guard of Yadier Molina. So pitching coach goes out, gives him a simple reminder mechanically. Maybe that'll lock him back in with that breaking ball that he is blessed with.
Andrew McCutchen on deck with Jones off second. 2 runs in on the 2-run shot by Ian Kinsler, and a fastball stays in. Lugo having to work hard this inning. A pitch count that's approaching 60.
They may just stand up and put him on right now.
And they will do just that. So it'll be the second time Hosmer is walked. This one of the intentional variety, and it sets up Andrew McCutchen now. I think Andrew McCutchen has the ability to get the U.S. into Puerto Rico's bullpen with a base hit here.
Well, once again, when they're painting you on the outside corner and you're not making the adjustments, they're going to stay out there. But if they leave one again over the middle of the plate, that's where Andrew McCutchen has been able to get some big hits.
McCutchen struck out in the second.
Ooh, man. That was one he'd like to have back. Watch where this one ends up. Right down the middle, and he just see how he gets on the top of the ball and pulls it foul. Just a little too far out front.
0-1 to Andrew McCutchen. Sets up way outside, and it's 0-2 now. The U.S. has hit only .222 with runners in scoring position in this tournament.
See how McCutchen went after that pitch right now? Watch how far Yadi gets out on this next pitch if he's thinking along with where McCutchen is expanding the strike zone.
My goodness. In the left-handed batter's box to strike him out again. Seth Lugo's thrown Andrew McCutchen 6 pitches tonight and struck him out twice. The damage is done, however, courtesy of Ian Kinsler. Kinsler's first home run of the tournament gets the U.S. on the scoreboard in the 3rd. Bottom third of the order here in the third inning for Puerto Rico. Eddie Rosario, T.J. Rivera, and Kike Hernandez.
Well, look at what Marcus Stroman's already done, the adjustments he's made. The first 6 batters, 6 for 6. Tonight, 0 for 5 with a walk. Man on a mission. Wow.
A ball and a strike.
Keep it there. He's in good shape. The hitters will start chasing that pitch. I guarantee it.
Rosario 6 for 17 in the tournament. And behind now 1-2.
Just to make it simple for you at home watching, saying, why does a guy swing at pitches like that after seeing one that was called a ball, and that one was, it's the movement and it's the recognition of where that last pitch was. The hitter knows that was a close enough pitch that if they keep throwing it there, he's not going to run the risk that the umpire is going to keep calling it a ball. So you pitch off of what the hitter sees and then try to go either lower or away with the variety of pitches. And his sinker right now, Stroman, is this good. This is a ball, but the hitter doesn't recognize it as a ball. He sees it coming out of the hand as a pretty good pitch, and then it disappears.
Rosario drove in a run against Stroman 5 nights ago. He'll drive that pitch to the opposite field. Playable for Christian Yelich and 1 away. Marcus Stroman off to a good start here tonight. The Blue Jays first rounder back in 2012 out of Duke University, JP, a place that he returned to not too long ago.
He did, Matt. It was in the spring of 2015. Stroman was just establishing himself as a full-time major league starter when he suffered what seemed to be a devastating ACL injury. Missed almost the entire season. But during that year, while rehabbing, he went back to Duke and finished his remaining credits toward a sociology degree. Then last summer, Matt, in between starts, he went back to Durham and walked in commencement ceremonies as a graduate of Duke University. He says now, he told MLB.com, that he never thought he would ever say he was thankful for having suffered that injury, but now he is, because of the way that he's grown physically and mentally since then.
Well, made the most of his time as he works to T.J. Rivera now with an 0-1 count. That's into right. He's something of a renaissance guy, too. Really interesting guy that has a lot of hobbies and pursuits outside of baseball. He's got a music career. He's got a fashion line. And very proud of his degree at Duke, going back to finish.
Showing off his good mechanics there.
Two gone for him here in the third. And he'll face the LA Dodger, Kike Hernandez. Hernandez just 4 for 12 in the tournament, but starting in center field tonight in place of Raymond Fuentes. Fuentes is the better defender, but Edwin Rodriguez told us before the game he's just looking for a little bit more offense from that position tonight. Fuentes just 2 for 16. So they'll give Kike a chance in his home ballpark. Two out, bases empty. Puerto Rico's been held without a hit so far tonight.
Maybe part of that thought of putting him in the lineup would take a little bit of that energy and put it in the lineup, because he's probably got so much energy in the dugout. He's wearing out all his teammates. He definitely is embracing this moment. The flag around him.
Two balls and 2 strikes.
You know, to finish that thought we talked about earlier, Stroman being from a less than warmer climate as a pitcher. Over 200 wins and over in the big leagues. 60%, nearly 60% of the pitchers have come from that climate. Less than this, not from the South.
That's among.
So think about that.
Those born in the U.S.
Born in the U.S.
And by the way, I want to clean myself up from earlier. Mark is from Long Island, not upstate New York. Still cold weather nonetheless.
Yeah. So that myth of that you got to be in the South or the West and warm weather, play year round. That's a huge statistic that you wouldn't guess, that most of the pitchers come from those areas where it's less of an idea to play year-round baseball.
2 balls and 2 strikes to count to Kike Hernandez. What do you think of the constant music soundtrack with gameplay?
Obviously, we've heard it for 2 weeks, so it's not a fair question to ask us.
Yeah. Now that music's great. I love the folks that have brought instruments. And Hernandez swings and misses. Marcus Stroman has worked to the minimum through 3. He has not allowed a base hit. From Hamilton to Washington and the rest of the U.S. dignitaries. Oh, Captain America's here as well. Folks getting into the spirit of the thing. 2-0 U.S. Welcome back to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. A 2-0 lead for Team USA through the first 3. Back with John Smoltz and J.P. Morosi, Matt Vasgersian, top half of the 4th. And it's the bottom 3rd of the U.S. order. Brandon Crawford, Giancarlo Stanton, and Jonathan Lucroy against Seth Lugo. Crawford lined to shortstop in his first try tonight.
Lugo's had a strange game. 6 strikeouts, a few walks, and then of course that 2-run homer. So his stuff is there. It just hasn't all been there at consistent fashion to where he's pounding strikes consistently, but does have 6 strikeouts.
Beaten on the ground to Baez. Routine play to start the 4th. Between innings, JP had a chance to chat with Team Puerto Rico manager Edwin Rodriguez.
Edwin, what's been different about Stroman tonight?
But he's spotting his fastball. I mean, the velocity is there, like, you know, as always. But he's getting ahead in the count, and he's spotting the fastball. Secondary pitches are working, so he's on tonight.
With Lugo, how many more outs are you hoping to get?
Well, we're going, you know, hitter by hitter. Let's see how he goes, but, you know, he's getting behind in the count, so let's see how far he can go.
Gracias.
Gracias, man.
Yeah, the Puerto Rico bullpen is quiet for the most part. They had 2 relievers up behind Lugo when it looked like he was in trouble in the 3rd. Single homer walk is how the inning began. And then Lugo was able to minimize the damage. Giancarlo Stanton struck out back in the 2nd. Watching Jim Leland there and talking to him before each of these games, he's going to be on the Hall of Fame short list at some point sooner rather than later. And you wonder if Team USA wins this thing tonight and Jimmy's able to do something that Joe Torre was unable to do, and Buck Martinez and Davey Johnson, pretty good baseball men there, what this would do in terms of the Hall of Fame resume. In the eyes of many, it would complete it, because 22 years in the game, a World Series title, 16th on the all-time win list. A lot of people feel like he's already there.
Well, he's one of a kind, and certainly we've got the pleasure. I've known him for a long time, playing against him when he was managing Pittsburgh, and now in this business, getting a chance to talk to him when he was a manager with the Tigers. Tell he's going to enjoy this when it's done if they can get that victory.
Jonathan Lucroy takes a strike. Pretty good storyteller too. He was weaving tales for us earlier in the week, talking about how this is an all-star team and it presents its own challenges when a team is good. As Lucroy sends a fly ball to right. We'll continue that thought as we continue tonight. A very quick 1, 2, 3, 4th for Seth Lugo. A 2-0 lead for Team USA as we head to the bottom of the 4th and take you back to our MLB Network studios for this Geico update.
Get up for something good this season with MLB Central. Join Matt Vasgersian with Mark DeRosa, Lauren Shahadi, and special guests for your leadoff look at the day in baseball, plus all the news that's central to the game. MLB Central, presented by Hyundai, returning Monday, April 3rd on MLB Network.
Returning you to a 2-0 U.S. lead. Last of the fourth. Top of the order for Team Puerto Rico. Pagan, Lindor, and Correa against Marcus Stroman, who has yet to allow a base hit. Only one walk on his line through the first 3 innings. Puerto Rico fans make a little noise, trying to rally some support here. Pagan swings and sends a drive to right. McCutchen is brought forth, and there's one away. Well, Marcus Stroman strong tonight. Tanner Roark was great yesterday, and between innings, J.P. Morosi had a chance to chat with him.
Tanner, what do you enjoy about Stroman, watching him the most?
His mechanics are really good, and he's been down in the zone, throwing everything with conviction, and that's the name of the game as a starter. You know, you want to move the ball, move the feet in and out, up, down. You know, keep him off balance, and it's been fun to watch so far.
Tanner, your manager Jim Leland doesn't want to be the story tonight, but I'm sure you've had a great time playing for him. What memories will you now take forward having played now for Jim Leland?
Just his, his charisma and his experience, and the way he believes in us as much as anybody, and it's been a lot of fun, and he's a great manager, and unfortunately this will be his last game, but I think he can still do it, but he just doesn't want to do the flights anymore.
Tanner, thanks so much.
All right, thank you.
Tanner's right about that. That's exactly what he doesn't want to do anymore. Here's Francisco Lindor with one away and the base is empty. And that one's back to Stroman. 2 quick outs in the fourth. JP, he doesn't want to make any of this about himself, but if Team USA is able to win this thing, Jim Leland is going to get some extra attention.
Oh, he certainly will, Matt. And again, you can tell when we've talked with him, when you ask him questions about what this means to him to manage the national team of his country, he'll get choked up. He actually got choked up the first time I ever talked to him about this tournament a year ago, about hearing the anthem for the first game. So this means a lot to him. He'll never let you know it, but his emotions sometimes will tell you that. He said the proudest thing right now, Matt, is that he can tell in a very short time this team has truly become a team, a very united team. And on the subject of flights, Matty, I'll make this one point. He does have one more coming up tomorrow, 6 a.m. back to Tigers camp in Lakeland, Florida, where he works still as an advisor to the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, and with a gold medal on, he will get on that flight tomorrow morning with pleasure. Still quite a bit to be determined here in just a 2-run game. Carlos Correa batting with 2 out and the base is empty.
He's got it working. See the little extra pause. He's been working on that in spring before he got here. He's trying to find any way he can mess the timing up of the hitter. And that little pause right there, he threw a changeup. See a little pause, and then he thinks you're going to get a fastball. Nice little changeup. And you see Correa nod his head.
Taking notes from the Japan staff, and we talked about that a lot last night, how just about every one of the Japanese pitchers has a hitch or a pause or something funky and deceptive. It is again that little no-mo move he's got in him.
You got to be strong on the lower half, and you got to be patient. But he, in the third point that I said being locked in, is locked in tonight.
A full count now, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Carlos Correa.
If LaCroix would have been set up over there, that would have been called a strike, I really believe, but he was set up in. Look where he's set up. See where that pitch is? That's the difference between getting a pitch called for a strike and not. It's not Lucroy's fault.
Payoff pitch home. Swung on and missed. He got him. 3 strikeouts as Marcus Stroman has not allowed a hit through 4. On to the 5th inning at Dodger Stadium. Still 2-0 U.S. Marcus Stroman's been outstanding in this one. He's not allowed a hit through 4, and an animated reaction to striking out Carlos Correa last half inning. Watch Marcus coming off the mound and looking back in the Puerto Rico dugout. I got that for you, or something of that nature. Ian Kinsler's home run, the only runs on the board so far. Bunting here to lead things off in the 5th, and it's 0-1. And JP, you were down there. What Did you know where that was directed, at whom specifically?
I think at the bench generally, Matty, and I will tell you this with certainty, it did not go unnoticed by the Puerto Rican players and coaching staff as well. Remember, too, Marcus has been booed now twice by the Puerto Rican fans during pregame intros because, as we know, as we mentioned, his mother is Puerto Rican. He could have represented Puerto Rico in this tournament, so certainly the Puerto Rican fans remember that, and the players remember that, too.
0-1 the count to Ian Kinsler. He's been a handful tonight. Not allowed to hit through 4, and this had been a really loud lineup. Ian Kinsler swinging a loud bat tonight.
Good sign for USA team. Kinsler swung at the first pitch and grounded out. Since then, a homer and a single.
Joe Jimenez has joined the left-hander Giovanni Soto. And it's Adam Jones again who has walked tonight. 71 pitches for Lugo. And I would imagine the leash is not going to be very long on him this inning.
No, and I would think look for Jim Leyland to pick on a count that he might like to create some action where he sends the runner and trusts Adam Jones in his plate coverage.
Jones homered against Lugo 5 nights ago. I think it's the most overused baseball cliche out there these days when guys are described as being grinders or gamers. But in Ian Kinsler and Adam Jones, that's exactly what Team USA has atop their lineup card. Two guys that never want a day off. Two of the most steady performers in the big leagues these days, and two great table setters for Team USA. Molina crowds Jones and it misses inside. And to hear Mark DeRosa tell us, our colleague at MLB Network, for Ian Kinsler, and Mark played alongside Ian for some years in Arlington.
Didn't Mark play with everybody on this field?
Pretty much. But in the case of Ian Kinsler, it's what do you expect? His dad's a prison warden. And that is in fact the case. I would imagine one would grow up in a rather regimented environment when your father or mother is a corrections officer. JP he's a player that's always been known to have a pretty high work ethic.
He has, and again, Howard Kinsler, 25 years as the chief warden of the Arizona State Prison Complex in Tucson. And Ian told me before this tournament started, Matty, Howard coached a fair number of his teams as a kid, and he said he was a very black and white kind of coach. Either you played hard or you didn't, and we see that in Ian right now.
In a ever louder environment. 2 balls and no strikes to Adam Jones. To 3-1 now.
Well, this would be the count, right? 3-1. Slider off the plate. Send Kinsler.
Two times in his career, Ian Kinsler, a 30-30 guy. He stays put, and Jones takes a breaking ball on the corner. A full count now.
Good decision not to go. Trusted his off speed right here, and see how much that causes a hitter with the amount of break downward.
There goes Kinsler on 3-2, and everybody will try it again.
Molina, I think back in the day, he'd have the quickest draw.
Like an Old West gunfight.
Yeah, an Old West. He just comes out. I mean, just that side action, and then he's got a gun down to second, but he would be, I think he'd be the odds-on favorite in a quick draw match.
There goes Kinsler, and there's ball 4 to Jones. A single and a base on balls open the 5th. All eyes on Edwin Rodriguez and Ricky Bonas. And it looks like that's going to be the end of the line for Puerto Rico's starter tonight. A similar performance for the U.S. lineup against Lugo as to the one that he pitched 5 nights ago. The difference is Marcus Stroman has been brilliant tonight. No move has been made yet. And Edwin's going to leave him out there.
This might have more to do with Arenado on deck.
Yeah. Lugo's had no trouble with Arenado, who waits on deck, but Yelich has doubled against him. Puerto Rico feels like this is a part of the U.S. lineup that Lugo can handle, because left-handed hitters batted only 146 against Seth Lugo last year. So it's the left-handed hitter Yelich, and then Arenado, who struck out twice tonight, then a lefty, Eric Hosmer. A ball and a strike to count to Christian Yelich. Lugo out of the stretch, as he's been seemingly all night. Good breaking ball, swung on and missed.
Such a good pitch. When he throws it like that, you can almost tell the hitter, hey, I'm throwing you a curveball. Good luck.
There's the application of the spin rate metric that you were talking about earlier tonight. Fastball fouled away.
See what that does, that change of speeds, right? I mean, that's a slow curveball breaking hard, and then you throw a 93-mile-an-hour fastball, looks like 100. There's the grip. It's not a knuckle curveball. Knuckle curveball is much different and creates that kind of spin. He just does it with tremendous mechanics and just the snap of a wrist. Our Pedro Martinez could spin a ball like nobody else, from a curveball to a slider to a cutter to a changeup. We've always talked about how his fingers can go and stay on the ball longer than anybody because of the flexibility of it. You can actually bend those fingers in a spot you wouldn't believe if you saw it live.
Tremendous focus. 2-2 pitch to Yelich is into right field. They're going to wave Kinsler around. Rosario throws up the line, gets away from Molina. No advance on the throw, but it's an RBI single from Christian Yelich, and it's 3-0 U.S. That will officially be the end of the line for Lugo tonight.
Just good piece of hitting right there. He didn't bury the cutter or slider in as much as he would like, and Yelich gets the barrel to bat out. And then Molina gets screened here on this bounce with the runner coming and the ball at the same time.
Success in the 2-strike count, and it knocks Lugo from the game with a run in and nobody out in the 5th. We'll be right back. Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the World Baseball Classic Incorporated. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Just up to 101 from here, the Universal City Walk. The U.S. with a situation, a run in, nobody out, and Nolan Arenado to go to work against the new Puerto Rico pitcher, right-hander Joe Jimenez. Arenado bunting, Jimenez to third. They get the lead runner there. First and second with one away.
Well, he's had 3 of these successful in his career, so you can imagine in Colorado, I'm sure that's not something that's happened a lot for Arenado, but I can tell you that when you're struggling like that, he may have very well have done that on his own.
Joe Jimenez is unscored upon in 3 outings in the World Baseball Classic. He's now got Arenado at first and Yelich at second for Eric Hosmer. Joe Jimenez has been named the Tigers minor league pitcher of the year for each of the last 2 seasons. And last year, between 3 different stops, was 30 of 31 in save opportunities, amassed an ERA of 1.5, and averaged over 13 strikeouts per 9 innings.
They got a good one. They got a good one, and he's got a live arm.
22-year-old's next offering misses in the dirt.
Changeup right there at 87. About 7 miles an hour is usually a pretty good difference between your fastball and your changeup. When a hitter's trying to time something that's up there at 95 miles an hour, he's going to look silly on 87, 86.
Tigers entering the season with Francisco Rodriguez, the venerable K-Rod, as their closer again. And you would imagine there'll be some grooming for Joe Jimenez to take over that role sooner rather than later. Milwaukee property hit on Burgos up in the bullpen for Puerto Rico. Hosmer grounds to shortstop. Lindor with a great play to Baez for 1, not in time for the double play. I don't even know how Javi Baez got a throw off there. 2 away runners at the corners.
A little bit of a hitch out of Lindor, making sure that he gets the proper feed. Watch this, little hits, the ball bobbles, and that's all it takes for the difference between having a smooth transition. That little bobble right there. That handcuffed Baez because he was anticipating the ball just a little bit sooner.
Andrew McCutchen now, first and third with 2 gone. McCutchen struck out twice against Lugo, saw a total of 6 pitches. On the first pitch he sees here from Jimenez, a fly ball into the corner that's out of play down near George Washington and Captain America and the band of Merry Renown. If I didn't know any better, I'd think there was like a Zach Galifianakis pilot being filmed down there tonight. Oh, and 1 to Andrew McCutchen. On the ground toward the hole, smothered by Lindor. Throws not in time and a run scores. For 4-0 U.S.
You just can't appreciate how much ground Lindor caught up to that ball. This is a ridiculous attempt. And a guy that can run, maybe not run as much as he used to, as fast as he once was. Watch this play by Lindor. It's a base hit. Unreal. What an effort. And another big 2-out hit.
The runs charged to Lugo, for whom you can now close the book. And an additional chance for Brandon Crawford.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, it's pretty easy to see why he won the Gold Glove last year, and it's saying something. In the American League, that shortstop spot is so well spoken for. But I think Lindor is going to have a lock on that hardware for years to come. Just 23 years old. The first ever Puerto Rican shortstop to win the Gold Glove Award. A ball and no strikes to Brandon Crawford.
slider. Change-up slider off that fastball. If he can command that fastball and get those off-speed pitches anywhere close, fast track to the big leagues.
One from Jimenez. Yes, 96 miles an hour swung through. Big difference in opportunities with runners in scoring position. Puerto Rico hasn't had one, as Crawford pops up a breaking ball. More routine chance for Lindor, but the U.S. gets on the board for 2 more runs. RBI singles by Yelich and McCutchen. Middle of the night, and the U.S. leads by 4. Tourism company. Visit SeePuertoRico.com to plan your trip today. And sponsored in part by MLB The Show 17, available March 28th. And by Wendy's. Well, Team Puerto Rico, entering the bottom of the 5th inning, is faced with their biggest deficit of the entire tournament. Undefeated Puerto Rico, trailing by 4, last of the 5th. As Carlos Beltran leads things off against Marcus Stroman, who has been as stingy as possible tonight, to the tune of no hits allowed through 4.
He sure has. A little bit of a delay in that last inning. See if he can get right back in the rhythm where he left off.
Between innings, the coaching staff, specifically big league veteran Carlos Baerga, trying to get the guys going for Team Puerto Rico. Carlos has been super animated the entire tournament. The whole team's been real animated, and they've been muted tonight. It's kind of a different energy when they're playing from behind.
No doubt. They have the flair, they have the attitude, and they've had all the reason to be excited because they hadn't lost coming into this game.
For the vacated hole, the lone guy over there was Crawford, and he's still able to make the play on Beltran, who doesn't run like he used to. And Brandon knew he had a little time.
Yeah, that's understanding the guy running at home plate. Another cannon for a shortstop.
Brandon Crawford, he's like Klay Thompson on the Warriors, right? There's all kinds of stars on his team, so he might not be the first guy you look at, but when you watch him play every day, your appreciation for him grows more and more. 7 ground ball outs for Marcus Stroman so far tonight. Now it's Yadi Molina, who gave him 2 ground ball outs for the price of 1 when he bounced into a double play in the second. Just missed. It's 1-1. Time was not granted by Yadi for Yadi that time, though, as he stepped out and took a strike.
Stroman is definitely mixing his timing, mixing the deliveries.
Another low target from Lucroy, and Molina sends it on a couple of hops to the aforementioned Brandon Crawford. You know, back to Crawford for a moment. Bruce Bochy, of course, loves him in San Francisco, and he's developed quite a few fans along the way in this tournament as well, JP.
He has, Matt. Jim Leland calls Crawford one of his favorite players in the major leagues, and that affection actually started back in 2012 when Crawford's defensive plays, like we just saw, devastated Leland's Tigers in the World Series. He's had respect for him ever since then, and now, Matty, 5 innings away from a potential WBC championship together.
Yeah, first of 2 rings for Brandon, coming at Jim Leland's expense. A couple of ground balls to shortstop start the 5th, and now it's Javier Baez. That big patented swing and miss.
Hitters can say all they want when they've had success against a pitcher and then face him exactly 5 days later. I think advantage pitcher because he has the ability to make changes on what wasn't his crisp outing before, and you can tell whatever changes he made in the bullpen to get locked in with the off-speed pitch down and the sinker back sharp. It is showing up tonight in the best timing for USA.
Two balls and a strike to Javier Baez, one of the strikeout victims tonight, 3 of them posted by Marcus Stroman. What a difference 5 days makes. Back on March 17th, 5 nights ago, 6 straight singles and 4 runs, and Marcus was able to right the ship, but there was so much early damage the U.S. couldn't catch up. Tonight, just nothing on his watch. And Baez beats it to the left side. Crawford with all 3 plays in a 1-2-3 fifth. The shutout in check. Marcus Stroman hasn't allowed a hit, and the U.S. is getting closer to going someplace they've never gone before. A 4-0 lead in the championship game of the World Baseball Classic. Pitching change for Puerto Rico as Jose Barrios takes over to work the top half of the 6th inning in a 4-0 U.S. lead. Giancarlo Stanton the first to face him. It'll be Stanton, Lucroy, and Kinsler in the U.S. half of the 6th.
I know that his year didn't go the way he wanted to when he was called up, but I think this is a very athletic pitcher. He learns how to command the fastball. A lot of moving parts when he delivers the ball. Ball's going to cut, run. He too can spin and break a off-speed pitch.
Ball and 2 strikes to count to Giancarlo Stanton.
But it comes down to repeating that athletic delivery, and I think the longer he gets more acquainted with not only the league but his body and mechanics, you're going to see this guy win a lot of games.
Just 22 years old, and nobody with the Twins has given up any faith in Jose Barrios. But as you mentioned, just 3-7 with an ERA over 8 in his first big league experiences last year. Great minor league numbers. MLB.com has had him as a top prospect each of the last 2 seasons. He's pitched in the Futures game twice. Full count pitch, and Stanton swings and misses one away. Reminder to follow every pitch of the World Baseball Classic and during the regular season with the MLB.com @Bat mobile app, your #1 app for live baseball. And join Major League Baseball in a new era as we celebrate opening day. Make sure to wear your cap on April 3rd. Share a photo on social media using the hashtag #CapsOn. Tune into all the opening day action April 3rd on ESPN, MLB Network, and MLB.com. Caps on, Smoltzy.
Yes. I always try to have a cap on my head.
One gone now for Jonathan Lucroy. Seen a lot of red, white, and blue caps this week in Los Angeles. Last week in San Diego for sure. It's a military town. You know, I think there's been a lot of patriotism that this event has kind of cajoled out of the crowds as well. And there are little patriotic stories involved with a lot of the players on Team USA. And Jonathan Lucroy is no exception. Here's the 1-1 home to him. Lucroy's college roommate was wounded in Afghanistan while serving with the Army National Guard. And so Jonathan has supported Fisher House in Wisconsin. He was a brewer for a long time. It's a facility for veterans and their families receiving treatment at the Milwaukee VA hospital. Lucroy is a two-time recipient of the Bob Feller Act of Valor Award. And that's an award that baseball, in conjunction with the U.S. Navy, uses to recognize outstanding support for the men and women of the U.S. military. And Lucroy's been very active in his support of those folks and those efforts. And I think, JP, there are probably stories like that throughout the Team USA roster.
Well, a very special one for Christian Yelich, whose younger brother, Cameron Yelich, is a corporal in the U.S. Marines, actually watching the game right now at a friend's house in Hawaii, where he is stationed right now. And Matt, I'll tell you this, certainly Cameron loves his brother Christian, but even Christian would probably tell you Cameron's favorite player on this team is Marcus Stroman. And Christian and Cameron's mother, Alicia, told me that recently Christian Yelich made his brother's day by FaceTiming him from the clubhouse with Marcus Stroman at his side. So again, a great moment there. It made Cameron's day. And I was told as well by Alicia Yelich, again, Christian and Cameron's mother, that Cameron predicted today, Matty, 5 or 6 shutout innings by its favorite player, Marcus Stroman.
Wow.
Pretty close to coming true.
Wow. I think we know what Cameron Yelich could do when he's out of the armed forces. Go into the predictions business. Christian may or may not have an opportunity to bat this inning. Ian Kinsler now with 2 gone. After Kinsler, Jones, and then if it goes any farther, it would be Yelich. Ian's had a big night. 2-run home run. He singled and scored in the 5th. Top of the order, as you can see, has done the heavy lifting for the Americans. Two and 1. Barrio struck out Stanton, struck out Lucroy. 2 and 2.
Well, here's that home run, and here's the difference of where Yachty wanted it and where he got it. See the target, and then unfortunately that line and that distance of missing the pitch is the difference. Over the wall.
3 balls and a strike was a correct count to Kinsler as he takes a breaking ball for a strike to fill it now. 3 and 2.
This kid's got a live arm.
And that's no breaking ball either, by the way, not at 95.
But this is coming up.
Little glimpse as to why the Twins made him such a high draft choice. He was taken 32nd overall in 2012. That makes him still the highest drafted Puerto Rican born pitcher ever. Locked him up, and Jose Barrio strikes out the side in the U.S. half of the 6th. To the bottom of the inning. Puerto Rico looking to get something going offensively tonight. Marcus Stroman is not allowed to hit tonight. There has been one no-hitter in World Baseball Classic history. Shiron Martis back in 2006. 1 walk, no strikeouts, and thanks to the mercy rule, the game ended after 7 innings. So Martis gets a no-hitter, a 10-0 win over a 7-inning mercy rule game. Now, Marcus Stroman will not have the opportunity tonight to throw a 9-inning no-hitter. There is a pitch count of 95, and nobody's going to roll the dice to try to extend Marcus just to make sure he finishes a no-hitter. He has, however, been fantastic tonight.
Well, StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services, is going to tell us why it's been this filthy 2-seam fastball that just seems to disappear. You see the numbers, the spin rate, and the miles per hour with the movement. Watch his shoulders. Watch his shoulders, how loose he is walking off the mound. He's feeling it, and he's locked in for Team USA. Couple words for the opposing bench. This man knows what the last start was like and wants to atone for it, and he has.
Oh, look, he's doing that Mike Fetters thing, that what you talking about Willis stare. He is locked on. There's TJ Rivera. Rivera flied out back in the third. Marcus Stroman is in postseason mode tonight. His longest no-hit bid in his big league career has been 6 innings. Soft contact to second. 2 quick outs. Stroman has matched the longest no-hit bid in the tournament, and that was Jose Quintana, who no-hit the U.S. over 5 2/3 in Miami. You know, I'm looking at the scorecard, John, and I believe you're doing the same thing right now. And by the way, congratulations on that very thorough, clean scorecard you're keeping tonight.
Thank you. I'm locked in too.
Here's Kike Hernandez, and I'm wondering out loud here, a quick out on Kike Hernandez. He could have roughly 30 pitches or so. Again, I do not believe that Jim Leyland would take any chances, but there is a 95 pitch allowance. He could get 1 or 2 innings deeper in this for sure, the way he's going.
He's getting a lot of ground balls, at least 10 of them, making life easy for his defense.
0-2 to Hernandez, a ball and 2 strikes now. A walk and 3 strikeouts, and that group hasn't had much to do.
I think he could talk himself into 1 more inning, but that would be it.
I mean, you got an all-star team bullpen down there. It is March after all. Though you sure wouldn't know it by watching him tonight. Chopper to shortstop, another ground ball out. No hits through 6 for Marcus Stroman tonight as he gets through Puerto Rico on a 9-pitch inning. The new season's about 2 weeks away, and MLB Network is bringing you 11 live opening week games, plus live look-ins and analysis from the best in the biz on MLB Tonight. Opening week coverage presented by Best Western begins April 2nd right here on MLB Network. We have been treated to a doozy, Judge. Packed house, brilliantly pitched performance by Marcus Stroman, some timely U.S. hitting, and a 4-0 lead for the Americans as we start the 7th inning. Jose Barrios struck out the side in the 6th, so he will continue in the 7th against Adam Jones, Christian Yelich, and Nolan Arenado.
That one didn't feel good. That one's right off the foot of Molina. At least that's what it looked like. Check swing, beat on a fastball. Oh, yeah, right off the foot.
Look at that. I mean, that's like the old Achilles heel tail. There's one little speck of non-covered foot there, and that's where that foul tip landed. Back to Barrios, and 1 away.
Johnny, I like this kid. I know we get caught up so quickly and determine what someone can do right away without giving the proper time frame to learn how to pitch.
Well, he will return to Twins camp as Christian Yelich digs in now and go back to work competing for a rotation spot. Ironically, one of the guys he's competing against is his teammate here for Team Puerto Rico. Hector Santiago's had a nice tournament as well, and they're the 2 guys who were probably competing for a roster spot in Minnesota this year, or a rotation spot, that is. 1-1. Yelich has had a nice night, 2 for 3. He's driven in a run and scored another.
I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just telling you right now.
All quiet on the Western Front. The U.S. bullpen, no need for anybody to do anything taxing. Hang on, I got to go to my iPhone to make sure that that is actually the West. The Yelich fans traveling from Miami. Got him.
Well, StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services, is going to take a look at that RBI from Yelich. A pitch down. A lot of left-handers love that. Down and in. See the exit velocity, 107.3 miles per hour. Kinsler throws it in from second.
Here's Nolan Arenado now with 2 gone. Arenado has struck out twice and reached on a fielder's choice when he tried to advance a runner with a bunt. 1-1. Not only does Jim Leyland have Marcus Stroman going deep into the ballgame tonight, he's got a fresh pen. And that's a group that includes, there's a base hit for Arenado. That's got to feel good. That's a group that includes Andrew Miller, who is available tonight, despite pitching yesterday, and Sam Dyson, who's available tonight. So, boy, the U.S. is really looking like they're in good shape for the late innings this evening.
Well, good news. He goes up the middle, makes contact, gets a hit. The other good news is it looks like the U.S. is in a good position to win this game, and none of these stats are going to matter.
Yeah. Here's Eric Hosmer now with the runner aboard and 2 gone. Hey. Cuidado. That one got him. I'm hoping that pitch just grazed him because it was 95 miles an hour. Take a look at it again.
They got him straight on the elbow. He's not showing any signs, but I'm telling you that hurt.
Was it the elbow or the ribs?
The elbow. That ain't good.
Got everything.
You try not to pay attention to it. You try not to rub it. But you know it's going to hurt in about 15 minutes.
Takes that long?
The realization of how bad it hurts. It starts getting stiff.
Pitching coach Ricky Bonas comes out now. It's usually Edwin Rodriguez that makes the move, so we'll have a conversation here with Andrew McCutchen's schedule, 2 on, 2 out, and Puerto Rico really not wanting to fall behind any deeper here. J.C. Romero, the unsigned veteran left-hander, is up in the bullpen. And again, the U.S. bullpen quiet. All signs pointing to Marcus Stroman going back out there for a 7th inning.
Why not? It's 2 outs. Kutch's been getting some 2-out hits.
He had a 2-out RBI single in the 5th. Breaking ball in for a strike.
Ball's down.
Complete MLB Tonight postgame coverage follows the game live from Dodger Stadium. Greg Amsinger, Harold Reynolds, Pedro Martinez, and Mark DeRosa are here. We'll have live presentation of the championship trophy and MVP.
It's going to be a tough call.
If this score holds and the U.S. wins it, you're right. I don't know that there's an easy answer because it's a tournament long award. And I'm going to reserve my speculative guess until we get closer to a conclusion. Because I already have my mind made up.
You do?
Yeah, I'm just not going to share it with you until we get a little deeper into this.
I can appreciate that.
Another slider that stays wide. It's 3-2 now to McCutchen, and with 2 out, both Arenado and Hosmer will get a head start on base.
Is it a position player?
I guess I can share that much with you. Yes.
Okay.
We just saw shots of a couple of pretty good candidates. Brandon Crawford. He's had a great tournament. Adam Jones, Eric Hosmer. Danny Duffy was great in this. Drew Smiley was great in this. Stroman's been fantastic.
You already pushed them aside, though. You said position player.
Oh, yeah. Here's the next 3-2 home. Another slider fouled away. Andrew McCutchen last year hit .256. Nearly 40 points under his career average. And as we've discussed all tournament long, he's going to right field full time this year for the last year of his Pittsburgh contract. If anybody wants a bounce back year in 2017, it's Andrew, who's had to listen to all kinds of trade rumors for the last 2 winters. Position change. He is still the heart and soul of the Pirates despite the all-star outfield cast he's in. 3-2, and it's fouled off again. It's been an 8-pitch plate appearance for McCutchen so far.
I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay.
Record-sized crowd for WBC tonight.
Ooh, all right, I'll buy that. I mean, the event has drawn over 1 million fans this year. An all-time attendance record, getting over the million mark for the first time ever. The next 3-2, and he lays off the slider to take ball 4. Andrew just wouldn't bite that time. That's a great plate appearance, and it loads the bases with 2 gone.
What a great pitch, and what a great take.
The left-handed hitter Brandon Crawford scheduled. Edwin Rodriguez has the veteran J.C. Romero hot. And he's going to make a change. The 4th pitcher of the night on his way in for Team Puerto Rico to try to keep this a 4-run deficit in the 7th. Bases loaded in an elimination game for Brandon Crawford, and what's the first thing that pops into your mind? The 2014 National League wildcard game. That was all the offense Madison Bumgarner needed. Brandon Crawford became the first shortstop to hit a grand slam in postseason history. He's got the bases loaded here with 2 away as he goes to work on the new pitcher, the veteran left-hander J.C. Romero. J.C.'s 40 years old. 2 seasons ago, pitched with the Long Island Ducks in the Independent League. He's got Arenado, Hosmer, and McCutchen to worry about with Crawford digging in. And on the appeal, Young-Ju Kim, the Korean umpire, said that Crawford swung the bat.
Well, JC's only in to face one batter, and that's Crawford right here. An accurate call.
JC Romero has pitched in all 4 World Baseball Classics. When Puerto Rico eliminated the U.S. in the second round of the last tournament back in 2013, Romero recorded the save by retiring Hosmer, Jones, Shane Victorino, and Jimmy Rollins. And he's in front of Crawford 1-2. Been a long time since we've seen JC in the Grande Ligas, however. He last appeared in the big leagues in 2012. A longtime Philly, a strike away from getting out of an ugly jam. 2-2. We talked about it back in 2013. I remember the outing when he eliminated the U.S. There's 2 of his old Philly teammates with whom he'd won a World Series a few years earlier. Shane Victorino, Jimmy Rollins. The irony running pretty thick. Still 2-2 to Crawford.
Yeah, for this tournament, we've seen some great play, and we've seen obviously teammates play against each other. And I like the little gamesmanship that's going to be going on, and just the little ribbing that'll be going on if you've had some success or you got your teammate out, or the ultimate case, Adam Jones robbing a home run against Manny Machado. That ranks #1 for me,
no doubt. I mean, the signature play of the tournament for me. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The count to Brandon Crawford with the bases loaded and 2 gone. Let's take it back to Saturday night in San Diego. Manny Machado got all of it, and Adam Jones said, "Not on my watch." Brilliant running catch. And he let his Baltimore teammate know about it. Manning could tip his cap. An amazing moment. The 3-2. Crawford into right center. That's going to score at least a pair. Arenado scores. Hosmer right behind him. 6-0 U.S.
Low and in, or low over the middle of the plate. Lefty on lefty. Crawford stays in. Beautiful stroke. More breathing room for Team USA.
Brandon Crawford's had a heck of a tournament. 10 for 25 with 6 RBIs. The last 2 of which giving the U.S. a 6-0 lead. Another pitching change for Team Puerto Rico, just trying to stem the tide and cut off what's been a troubling inning for them. Giancarlo Stanton, the batter, against the new pitcher, Brewers property, hit on Burgos.
Yeah, with these runs, though, the downside is Stroman has had to wait approaching 20 minutes now, and that starts getting a little bit late in the game to wait that long. I mean, he's staying mentally locked in, I'm sure. But keep an eye on that.
The inning started out harmlessly enough with 2 out. Arenado singled. Hosmer hit by a pitch. McCutchen walked. Crawford came up with a big hit against the left-hander. And now Burgos trying to retire Stanton, the 7th American to bat in the inning. Into left, a base hit, 7-0 U.S.
Well, they went in. And I was talking about middle in, doing him a favor. You got to bury it way in against a guy that's that strong. You can hit it that hard.
We got the time of the inning up there. It's not 21 seconds. It is 21 minutes and counting. And Jonathan Lucroy, the batter, now takes a pitch on the corner for a strike.
Yeah, early on, that's no big deal, right? Early on, you don't mind that kind of weight. You're fresher. But the longer you sit, try to keep yourself warm and active. Shoulder covered. He's got that sweatshirt on.
So if you add the, the time at the top and the bottom of the inning to the 22 minutes that the inning has taken, you're talking about roughly a half an hour between pitches for Stroman, and I think Jeff Jones, aware of that, wants somebody up and cooking in the bullpen now. It's just gotten to be that time.
They have to.
That one bounces away from Molina. Crawford and Stanton advance, and this is getting away from Puerto Rico in a hurry. Well, as we mentioned, all this with 2 outs. Single hit batsman, walk, single. 3 balls and a strike to count to Lucroy. Ian Kinsler's had a big night. He bats next. He'd be the 9th hitter to come to the plate this inning, and it's a full count now. When Puerto Rico trailed 4-0, we said it at the time, it had been their biggest deficit of the tournament. They got here undefeated and really unchallenged for the most part. And there's ball 4 to Lucroy. The bases are loaded.
All right, can I ask you another question? Is the guy right-handed or left-handed?
The guy who I have in my mind for MVP?
Yeah.
That's going to tip my hand.
No, there's a few on each side.
I think I'm going to give it away, so I'm going to keep that one to myself for another inning or so.
All right.
I know where you're going there, because there are a couple of guys that for me, it's a close call. Kinsler's 2 for 4 with a homer tonight. Sam Dyson is up in the U.S. bullpen. He has not begun throwing yet, but he's standing around down there, just waiting for his phone to ring, if you will.
They get a hit here, and he'll be fired.
Marcus Stroman has gone down the tunnel and into the dugout, into the clubhouse, that is. Kinsler to left! Missed it by that much as Pagan retires the side. 3 more tacked on for Team USA. 7th inning stretch at Dodger Stadium. Back to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. Here at 1000 Vin Scully Avenue. They used to call this road Elysian Parkway, but named in honor of their longtime Hall of Fame voice. Completed his final season mic side in 2016. This will always be Vinny's house as far as I'm concerned. Marcus Stroman has been brilliant tonight. Top of the 7th inning, he has not allowed a base hit, and as we talked about last half inning, John, sat for about 30 minutes and watched a very long half inning.
Yeah, that's a long time.
1-1 to Angel Pagan. So if you add in the roughly 2.5, 3 minutes at the top and bottom of the inning for commercials, it was about a half an hour. And the U.S. added some damage on the scoreboard, so Marcus was glad to sit. 2-1.
Still making quality pitches.
You were talking about Stroman when he faced the Dominican Republic and threw the ball so well in Miami in terms of his showmanship, his style, his panache, being able to match that of the DR, because those guys play with a lot of style. And on a team of really workman-like stars, guys for the U.S. squad, Kinsler, Hosmer, not flashy players, Crawford, Posey, great players. Pagan strokes an extra base hit into the left field corner, something for Puerto Rico fans to finally get excited about. Their first base hit of the night. And that's going to be all for Stroman. What a performance. Stroman departs with a 7-0 lead, took a no-hitter into the 7th, and leaves to a hero's exit. A U.S. pitching change for the first time tonight. We'll be right back. What a terrific performance by Marcus Stroman tonight. 6 no-hit innings. He leaves with his team up 7-0.
It was unbelievable. It's the best we've seen out of the U.S. under the circumstances. The one sinker that got up, and that was the double right there by Pagan. And the end of the night for Stroman. All things considered, probably the best thing that could happen. You mentioned the long wait and time. Awesome performance.
Francisco Lindor, the batter. First opportunity that Puerto Rico's had with a runner in scoring position tonight. 1 hit and 1 walk through 6+. Sam Dyson is the new U.S. pitcher. He's working in back-to-back nights, something that had to be cleared by the Rangers. The Texas manager Jeff Bannister said go ahead, use him on back-to-back nights. There's a lot on the line here, and Sam will be just fine.
He's really been awesome. It's been effortless. 94-95 sinker. Looks like he's playing catch with the catcher.
Two balls and no strikes to Lindor. Two and one to the 22-year-old All-Star. Francisco Lindor, one of the players that could have played for more than one team in this event. He moved to the U.S. at the age of 12. He planned to attend Florida State, but when the Indians chose him 8th overall in June of 2011, he went right to professional baseball. And I'd say he made the right decision. Two balls and two strikes, the count to Francisco Lindor. Sprayed to shortstop for Crawford. One away with a runner at third. Talking about Stroman and a memorable international pitching performance, let's take you back to the gold medal game of the 2000 Olympics. Former Brewers first rounder, first overall pick Ben Sheets threw a complete game shutout to beat heavily favored Cuba. And that's before Ben even threw a single pitch in his major league career. What a way to break into big league ball. Tommy Lasorda managed that team. Tommy was here last night to throw out the ceremonial first pitch. Here's Carlos Correa now. Remember back then in 2000, you know, Tommy still to this day has a marvelous way of attaching himself to things. And he had taken to referring to Ben Sheets after that performance as my guy, Ben Sheets. Complete game shutout to win a gold medal, and he was Tommy's guy all of a sudden. 0-2 the count to Correa.
If we get a chance, I got to tell you a quick story of my first encounter with Tommy Lasorda.
I would say we have a chance.
Waiting for the moment.
I want to hear this. Here's the 0-2 home.
So I'm on the side. I'm a rookie. I'm pitching on the side. My pitching coach is right there. Tommy's walking the track. He comes around. It's in Atlanta. He comes around. He comes right to the side session. He says, "Kid, let me see how you hold your fastball." And I'm like, do I show an opposing manager how I hold my fastball? Is this common practice? So I show him. He goes, no, it's all wrong. Your fingers are too wide. You got to get them closer together. And he showed me this, almost this tutorial while my pitching coach is standing right there. And when he left, I asked my pitching coach, I said, does this happen a lot in the big leagues? He goes, no, that's Tommy Lasorda being in first place.
Two gone after Correa strikes out. Carlos Correa had been one of the loudest bats in the tournament. He had been 8 for 20 with 3 home runs at the start of the night, but he's been held hitless tonight. Same with Carlos Beltran, 10 for 21. And so far tonight, just a walk and a ground ball to shortstop. You can't emphasize enough what Marcus Stroman has done tonight, considering Puerto Rico had been the hottest lineup in the tournament. They were hitting .326 as a team, tournament best. Their on base slugging led all teams in the tournament. 11 home runs. They had scored 55 runs in 7 games, a tournament high. And Marcus Stroman completely silenced them tonight. Two balls and a strike to Carlos Beltran.
They ran into a hot pitcher who had his revenge on a previous start where it didn't look like he was going to get out of the first inning. 6 straight hits.
That's what they say about postseason baseball in the major leagues, right? You can have the best lineup in the game, firing on all cylinders. A hot pitcher or hot pitchers can shut you down. That's how the 1988 Dodgers won a World Series. Boy, and Dodger Stadium has been a great host tonight. Terrific crowd this evening. Got to be pushing 50,000 strong. In fact, we have a number. 51,565. Man. Biggest crowd of the tournament so far. Well over 1 million this year in fan attendance. And a swing and a miss by Beltran. That runner left stranded. The shutout still in check. The U.S. is 6 outs away from gold in a 7-0 lead through 7. Ask for a better final matchup. Swing and a drive. Left, and it's gone!
Got it working.
Swung out and missed. He got him. 2-2 pitch to Yelich is into right field. Crawford into right center. And this is getting away from Puerto Rico in a hurry. Back at Dodger Stadium with John Smoltz, J.P. Morosi, Matt Vasgersian in a 7-0 U.S. lead. Adam Jones opens the 8th in front of 51,000 plus. It's been all U.S. so far tonight. 2-run home run by Ian Kinsler in the 3rd opened the scoring, and the Americans haven't looked back. RBI singles by Yelich and McCutchen in the 5th, and then 3 runs in the 7th. More than enough for Marcus Stroman, who took a no-hitter into the 7th inning tonight. So that brings you up to speed as Idan Burgos continues. He's got 1 gone here in the 8th.
All right, I'm going to ask you another question. Did your guy bat in the 7th inning?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's it. And for those of you at home, John and I are cryptically trying to reveal our tournament MVPs, assuming the United States can hang on tonight. I mean, tonight it's Marcus Stroman. He's the player of the game, as far as I'm concerned. But as for a tournament MVP, yes, my choice did bat in the 7th.
Okay.
I would think yours did too, because the Americans hit around in that inning. A ball and a strike to count to Yelich. We will have the trophy presentation ceremony live post-game. Again, Greg Amsinger, Harold Reynolds, Mark DeRosa, and Pedro Martinez are here tonight. They'll be on the field live for complete post-game coverage, including the trophy presentation and the presentation of the series' most valuable player.
Okay. Did your guy strike out today? There's a few that did not strike out.
Okay, you know, I'm going to say no, because the 2 guys that, for me, it's a close. This is close.
It is close.
I've already kind of made up my mind. Have you made up your mind?
No.
Oh. And again, that's on the occasion the U.S. hangs on to win here tonight. This is a terrific Puerto Rico lineup. Now, do we think that the U.S. bullpen, an all-star bullpen, is capable of giving up a 7-run lead late? It would come as a great surprise, but nobody's counting that chance out. Speaking of the U.S. bullpen, Pat Neshek's up in the bullpen. Full count. The 3-2 from Burgos. He is in for a called strike 3. Yelich is rung up. Yadi Molina trying to get a little of the energy back. And there are 2 gone here in the 8th. Nolan Arenado singled and scored in the 7th. And he takes a strike. Javi Baez had such a great tournament. Carlos Correa, same. Lindor, the outstanding infield of Team Puerto Rico. They've been silenced tonight. Puerto Rico, the runners-up in 2013. They ran into the Dominican buzzsaw that year. Dominican Republic finished 8-0. Puerto Rico got here tonight 7-0. They were thinking about the same kind of unblemished run. Marcus Stroman had other thoughts. Arenado into the right field corner. Back-to-back base hits. And if in fact that's Nolan's final plate appearance in the WBC, he will leave here with a good taste in his mouth.
just a matter of reps. Another monster year for that guy, I predict. And that's not going out on a big limb, by the way.
Yeah, right. We're going to have another pitching change. That's going to be all for a hit on Burgos with Hosmer due up. Edwin Rodriguez goes to the bullpen once more. The 6th pitcher on his way in for Team Puerto Rico. We'll be right back.
And so the Dominican Republic on their feet. Rodney, the 2-2 delivery. Swung on and missed. Mission accomplished. The Dominican Republic, the World Baseball Classic champions.
Now, 4 years ago, that was the fate of Team Puerto Rico. They got all the way to that final game, lost to the Dominican juggernaut that year. And trailing 7-0 here, Eric Hosmer perhaps thinking about adding on still with 2 gone. Alex Claudio is the new pitcher for Puerto Rico. Very tough on left-handed pitching last season as a Ranger. Limited left-handers to just a 177 batting average. This guy was aboard the train between AAA and the Grande Ligas all year. 7 moves between AAA and Big League Texas in 2016.
Yeah, he's funky. He's got a slow changeup that I love watching him throw, and just see the hitters try to toe tap and stay back. They can't. But as you mentioned, really difficult on left-handers. Slider, fastball, and that kind of ephus changeup.
Hosmer just trying to spoil it off and stick around. 7 runs on 10 hits for Team USA tonight. They got on the board in the 3rd on the 2-run home run by Ian Kinsler and have not looked back. Eric Hosmer will go back to Surprise, Arizona, after the proceedings with Team USA come to a close, and refocus on the 2017 Kansas City Royals. Ironically, that's where Alex Claudio will return to as well. The Royals and Rangers sharing that facility there. Arenado off first with 2 gone here in the 8th. Much of the focus in the Royals world will be on the start the team gets off to, with so many high-profile free agents on the roster at the conclusion of this season. Lorenzo Cain, Alcides Escobar, Mike Moustakas. And Hosmer has a base hit to right center. Arenado wraps around to 3rd. I don't know that I've ever seen Eric Hosmer with anything other than a great plate appearance. It might not always result in a base hit, but he always battles.
He does. He's aggressive early, more patient late, and he finds a way to put it in play. Great power and combination of back control.
McCutchen now with runners at the corners. Bounced up the middle. Baez, the throw to first is offline. Arenado scores. 8-0 U.S.
Great effort by Baez and a great effort by Rivera.
Runners at 2nd and 3rd as McCutchen got to 2nd on the throw. We should point out, for folks that have watched the entire tournament, we've talked about the early termination or the mercy rule. It is not in play here in the championship game. in earlier rounds. A 10-run lead after seven rather, would mean a complete game win. That will not be the case tonight. Play all 9 in the championship game.
Well, I'm going to tip my hand. My guy will have batted in this inning.
Your guy will have batted in this inning. Your MVP for this tournament. Okay. Well, I think I know who it's going to be. Oh, no. You know what? It could be Hosmer. It could be Crawford.
Could be Adam Jones.
Could be Adam Jones. I guess we'll go on record with our votes in the ninth. How about that? Fair enough. It's an 8-0 game. The 1-2 from Claudio. Let me ask you this. I mean, we can keep that in our pocket, but we just saw that shot of you sent Uncle Sam and George Washington among the historical figures that have come out in support of Team USA. If John Smoltz were to dress as a figure from U.S. history and attend a sporting event, who would it be?
Wow. What a good call.
You'll have a half inning. Telecast on MLB Network is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And sponsored in part by Bud Light and by the DQ $5 lunch, now served all day, every day. Pat Neshek in an 8-0 game, working the bottom of the 8th inning against Molina, Baez, and Rosario. Pat making his 5th appearance of the tournament, and he has been terrific for the last couple of weeks.
Terrific, active, fidgety, but excellent pitching. To answer your question, since I'm kind of a curious guy.
Yeah. Now, is this the question? And to restate, as we watch the 0-2 home, I asked John which character from American history he would come dressed as if he were to attend a ball game as such.
It's going to surprise you. But because I'm curious and I could stumble on something, we'll go with Christopher Columbus.
Ah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I could see, you know, my voyage, my quest.
Easy enough to execute. You buy the robe and the wig and like roll up a bunch of maps, and there you are. It's one of the Uncle Sam affectations here tonight.
Although I do get lost a lot.
Molina lines to the opposite field. A leadoff base hit in the 8th.
Second baseman number 9, Javier Baez.
Just 2 hits tonight for Puerto Rico. Pagan's double, which ended Stroman's no-hit bid in the 7th, and Molina leading off the 8th. Seen a lot of the George Washington guys in San Diego and here in LA. I don't know that we've seen a guy coming as Abe Lincoln.
No, I know, that's a good call.
Which you'd think would be kind of low-hanging fruit in the U.S. history figures. Oh, and 2.
So I take it that's, if you had to do this, you choose Abe?
No.
No?
No. George Washington again. It's all over the place tonight. Well, that's Benjamin Franklin. He never saw them at a party together, however. Grounded to Crawford. Shovels to Kinsler. Back to Hosmer. The double play.
Great feed, get rid of it quick. Kinsler does the rest. It's nice to have Hosmer, 6'11". That's what it feels like when he's stretching out there. He can cover so much territory at first.
Two-way base is empty for Eddie Rosario now. Who was the player that those fans had on the fat head? Who was that? Was that Mike Trout? You know, if the U.S. hangs on and wins this thing on top 8-0 in the 8th, I guess we can finally stop answering the questions. Where's Mike Trout? Where's Bryce Harper? Where's Clayton Kershaw? They chose not to play, and that's okay. The players that are here are pretty doggone good. And for fans that don't really follow Major League Baseball every day, a few of the super duper star players that chose not to come here might have been getting a little too much attention. I mean, Ian Kinsler, Gold Glover, 4-time All-Star. Adam Jones, 5-time All-Star. Brandon Crawford, Gold Glover, and All-Star. This team is so good. There's a 5-time All-Star Adam Jones. This team is so good that Alex Bregman has had a handful of at-bats. That Daniel Murphy has had a handful of at-bats. Guy that just missed a batting title last year and got serious MVP consideration. So let's stop talking about who isn't here. Finally.
I'll tell you this, the WBC in its 4th campaign, USA Baseball needed this to happen. In other words, the players understood the responsibility and what was being talked about in a country that had yet to win, let's face it, what was expected of them a few times. Now they can mark that off the list.
There were so many things that had been working against the U.S. right? These stars that are here all are here under fairly strict guidelines by their major league employers. It's March. We all get it. It's a different time to compete at such a high level. And Rosario takes ball 4.
And in fairness to some of the players, Matt, their organization just wouldn't let them play.
Yes.
You know, I think it goes both ways. And so there's some injuries the guys are battling with that, you know, it's not worth the risk coming off of those injuries. But I think what this does and what it will do not only for the support, as we saw more fans now this year than ever before, I think you're going to see that growing kind of intrigue from players and their desires as 3 years from now, 4 years from now, if they're given the opportunity and they're healthy. I think you're going to see better buy-in moving forward. I really do. But it does go both ways. Some organizations make it very difficult for a player to play. So
the pinch hitter is Kenny's Vargas.
And I understand both sides of it. That's the unfortunate thing of our tournament that isn't probably perfectly timed or perfectly played, but it is special now, and certain countries have showed the passion.
0-2 the count to Vargas. Got him on 3 pitches. And Pat Neshek pitched. You only get one chance to make a good first impression. MLB Tonight takes you inside every team's training camp for your first impression on how teams stack up for the new season. MLB Tonight's 30 clubs in 30 days. Go to MLBnetwork.com to see the full schedule. Emilio Pagan takes over on the mound for Team Puerto Rico in an 8-0 hole. Giancarlo Stanton leads things off for the U.S. Stanton, Lucroy, and Kinsler. U.S. got 2 runs on the home run by Kinsler in the 3rd and have not looked back. 1-2. Pagan is Mariners property, one of a couple of notable Mariners relievers in this Puerto Rico bullpen. The other, Edwin Diaz, their closer, has really had a terrific tournament. Good numbers for Pagan between double and triple A last year. That's out to the opposite field and over Rosario. Stanton's into second. You would never know, John, that Jim Leyland and Team USA have an 8-0 lead in the 9th.
No, but like we said before, the Butterflies, they are part of what this man has done for a long time. And he's thinking, he's pondering, he's thinking.
I have my own suspicions there. I think he's trying to get to 10,000 steps on his Fitbit. Here's Lucroy now. A runner at second to start the 9th. A 4-for-14 tournament for Jonathan, as was Jim Leyland's original promise. Equal time between the 2 catchers. Posey caught 4 and Lucroy has caught 4 as of tonight. As we mentioned, we'll have complete post-game coverage from right here at Dodger Stadium, including the presentation of the championship trophy, the gold medals, and the tournament's MVP.
Well, I know this. There were some young guys that a lot of people didn't know about that played in this tournament, that came out of the bullpen, that have live arms, that have got to have impressed some of their organizations in their poise and the way they throw the baseball. I've been impressed.
Lucroy wraps it to shortstop. So I guess it's not too presumptive. I guess we can't really hide behind this anymore, because you and I have been speculating about our personal choices for the tournament's MVP. And assuming the U.S. hangs on to this big lead, give it to me straight, Judge. Who's your tourney MVP? Who gets it?
I could have gone with one of any 3 of the position players. They came up with some big hits.
Right. And this is unofficial, by the way. This is our guess.
Unofficial.
Yeah.
I mean, it's between Crawford for me and Hosmer and Jones.
Okay. I'm not going to hammer you down to, give me one, but those are all 3 great guesses.
They've been outstanding, and obviously they played the majority of the time. So, the fact that they've all come up with huge hits at opportunistic times, and when you're playing every day and you're out there for 9 innings, which these guys don't do a lot of in spring training, I think you got to give some credit to that. And they've had fantastic tournament, and it wouldn't, any one of those 3 wouldn't, I don't think you have a wrong answer.
Okay. We should reset a little bit too, because you and I have been with this thing since the Miami games, and there have been other amazing performers that we've watched whose teams didn't get this far. Gregory Polanco of Team Dominican Republic was impossible to get out. Vladimir Valentin of the Netherlands set tournament records for home runs and runs driven in. He was great. Yadi Molina was amazing. And if Puerto Rico had been on the other end of this score and it was 8-0 for them, that would be my pick for tournament MVP. But with a tip of the cap to all those players, I made my mind up pretty early in this one.
Let me guess. You went with Adam Jones.
Yes.
And like I said, that would not be a wrong pick.
Adam Jones delivered 4 of the biggest hits in the tournament for Team USA, and the signature moment, the leaping catch, robbing Manny Machado Saturday in San Diego.
I think Stroman's going to get some votes for an epic performance.
Yep.
And let's not forget he pitched great in Miami as well. The first time around, the Dominican team.
Jones has been hitless tonight, and if you just look at the stat sheet, 7 for 34, it's not eye-popping, but what he's delivered has been more than just 7 base hits. Big swing and a miss. One of the veteran leaders of the roster. Last night drove in the game-winning run in the 8th. Had the walk-off winner over Colombia last week in Miami, a game that the U.S. came very close to not winning, by the way. I mean, they don't get to San Diego if they don't win that one. Homered in back-to-back games in San Diego, and as we mentioned, the signature moment of the tournament for me.
Kept the 2-run lead at that time, and then the next batter hit a home run to make it a 1-run game. There's no doubt he's been probably the leader on this team. And
on the ground, third. Correa to Baez. Back to Vargas, the double play. One last chance for Team Puerto Rico, and they have quite a mountain to climb to the bottom of the 9th. The Americans are 3 outs away from gold. On top, 8-0. Well, the 8-0 deficit hasn't really dampened the spirits of the folks that have traveled to support Team Puerto Rico. But make no mistake, it's the U.S. fans that are on the verge of celebrating here in an 8-0 lead. David Robertson will try to close it out for Team USA.
Trying to keep that 0 for a dominant performance.
Kike Hernandez leads it off for Puerto Rico. Hernandez, then the top of the order, Pagan and Lindor. Huh. 2-0 fastballs in for a strike. Giancarlo Stanton has an RBI single tonight. He's also doubled. Heated up near the end of the tournament for sure. As Hernandez pops it up. And the U.S. is 2 outs away from a World Baseball Classic title. Angel Pagan now. Puerto Rico got here dreaming of a perfect 8-0 run. And dreaming of avenging the loss to the Dominican Republic in 2013 in the championship game. And it's 0-2 to Pagan. Tanner Roark was great yesterday. 4 strong innings against Japan. The U.S. survives a 1-run game against a Japan team that was loaded and also undefeated at the time of their meeting with the U.S. Pagan has a hockey suit back up the middle for a base hit.
Yeah, so the U.S. team will have earned it, right? I mean, they would have beaten 2 consecutive unbeaten teams en route to this game, right through. That's the 5-hole in hockey, right?
Yeah.
if the goalie were to turn around.
Yeah. With the hockey suit on. Here's Lindor now. I mean, 2 weeks ago, John, you and I watched Team USA barely survive Colombia, one of the real dark horses in the tournament. And then they beat Canada to finish 2-1 and move on to San Diego. But they needed extra innings and a walk-off winner to beat Colombia. On the ground for Hosmer. He's got it. Can't get it out of his glove, so he settles with just the one out at the bag. That's stuck.
Catch probability on that one was pretty good.
One out left. And a crowd of over 51,000 strong hasn't thinned a bit.
Watch this thing just hit first. He's like, I know I'm trying to get it out of my glove. But it pops right into the webbing and stuck.
Carlos Correa represents the last out tonight. He too would have been in consideration for tournament MVP if the score was flip-flopped. You know, once the Dodgers season begins, they are used to packed crowds here for sure, but in an 8-0 game, a Dodger crowd might have started to thin by now. That is not the case tonight. Folks want to be here for the celebration. A ball and no strikes on Carlos Correa. Jim Leland is one out away from stopping the worry. $51,000 plus on their feet. The pitch from Robertson's grounded to third base. Arenado's got it. And the U.S. has a WBC title. Puerto Rico very dignified in defeat tonight. Their first and only loss of the tournament comes against the U.S. in the championship game. The Americans had never even gotten to the final game before. Tonight they took on a team that hadn't lost, a team that led the tournament in every major offensive category, and not only did the U.S. win tonight, they won in shutout fashion.
Yeah, Puerto Rico put their talent on display. They were awesome, and they had a lot of fun and passion along the way. As you see the final out right here to Nolan Arenado. And the U.S. in more of their business-like did what they had to do, won the games they needed to, and in a dominant way tonight, they got it done.
A roster full of U.S. stars who took a good month away to not only prepare for but compete in the World Baseball Classic. And they won a title for their country tonight. We talked about the workman-like roster for Team USA. Not long on style, but certainly long on substance, and they get it done tonight. An 8-0 shutout victory. It all began with Marcus Stroman's brilliant 6 no-hit innings tonight, and he's standing by with J.P. Morosi.
Thank you, Matt. Marcus, take a look around. Savor this. How does it feel to be a world champion?
Can't put into words, honestly. Just a commitment from this team. The pride that we have each and every game, the effort that every single person on this team put into it. Just happy to come out on the winning side.
So 6 no-hit innings. We're in Hollywood, Marcus. How about that script you wrote tonight, my friend?
That was fun. That was fun. You can't beat this atmosphere in here. This feels, honestly, it feels like playoffs, maybe even more so. So you're pitching with that country across your chest, and you feel that pride every time you go out there. Just want to give a huge shout out to my team, my defense behind me, every single person that contributed to this win today.
You mentioned the team. I saw you come to the dugout. You hugged Leland, you hugged Jeff Jones, your teammates. How special does it feel you guys developed here in a very, very short time?
I feel like we've been playing for years together. We have a strong camaraderie, and we developed that over the course of 2 weeks. So the way we were able to come together for the country, for the squad, was pretty special. This is something that we obviously will remember forever.
The world came together, Marcus, for these 2 weeks. You were part of some amazing games. What do you hope is the legacy of this team?
I mean, we had to get off the schneid there. We wanted, our goal obviously coming into it was winning. Every single person showed up to practice the first day with that mentality. We didn't just want to go out there and have an early exit. We wanted to win it for the country. We wanted to show that baseball is passionate in America, and that's what we were able to do.
Last one for you, Marcus. Some very special people to you, your family watching back in Medford, New York tonight. What's your message to them?
I love you. Love you, Mom. Love you, Dad. Sabrea, my aunt. Everybody, love you. Love you, Mom, especially. I know she went through a lot through this, some emotional times, so that was for my mom right there.
Congratulations, Marcus. Enjoy it.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Matty, back to you.
JP, thanks. As the American flag, Old Glory, makes its way around the ballpark, courtesy of Christian Yelich and Adam Jones. Team Puerto Rico will disband. They will be redistributed to their big league employers. What a great run they had. Yadi Molina emotional in defeat tonight. Boy, he had such a terrific tournament and wanted this so badly for his country. A victory lap for Team USA as we await the presentation of the gold medals, the championship trophy, and the tournament MVP award. The final out tonight. You know, the team, John, had been really kind of muted in its celebrations as compared to how the Dominican team celebrates and the Puerto Rico team. But tonight, they'll let their hair down as WBC champs.
Absolutely. And I got to credit Puerto Rico. They've been out there the whole time, tipping their hats to the American team. They know they lost to a really good team, and they could just as easily be in the clubhouse doing their thing. But this has been a really, really neat event, and one that the U.S. probably needed more, just from the sake of not having been here and not won one. Puerto Rico twice now, coming real close. The pride of their country has got to be proud of them as well.
Boy, they played brilliantly, and they remain so dignified in the defeat tonight. A round of applause, a very gracious round of applause for the U.S. flag as it passes by. JP standing by with the winning manager. JP.
Thanks, Manny. Well, Skip, how about this team?
Well, they were great. They were. You know, this is. You know, I don't know what to say. This is. You know, I got a chance to manage for our country. Coaches got a chance to coach for our country. The players got a chance to play for our country. But you know what? This is for the people that serve our country.
There he is, Jim Leland. The last game he's ever going to manage, Matty. How about that as a way to go out?
Yeah, JP, as you guess, because you know Jim well, as we do, he was emotional there. He wasn't walking off to show anybody up. He was walking off because he was choked up, and he's taken all this in. And meanwhile, a very nice moment as the U.S. team and Puerto Rico players exchange salutations, handshakes, and congratulations. These are all professionals together. And the next time they all meet, they'll either be teammates or they'll be back with their major league teams as opponents in a different way.
Yeah, the game's in great hands, Matt, with the future of our Major League Baseball, with the young talent represented worldwide, and certainly was on display for 2.5 weeks. And as you mentioned, now they will go home to their teams and reacquaint themselves with the purpose of getting to the World Series.
Boy, I mean, the sportsmanship that's on display tonight might be, it sounds a little corny for us to keep talking it up, but it really strikes you how genuine, how sincere it is among these guys who, let's face it, they've all competed against one another, with one another in the past. It's a pretty tight fraternity of major league players. The celebrations are just beginning on the field. We've got the awards presentations, the naming of the tournament MVP, and much more as our coverage from Dodger Stadium continues right after this. The U.S. roster in line for their gold medals, having won the World Baseball Classic with an 8-0 victory over previously undefeated Puerto Rico. There's still a matter of who will be named as the tournament MVP, but little mystery as to who tonight's Alfa Romeo player of the game is. None other than the man that took a no-hit bid into the 7th inning tonight, right-hander Marcus Stroman.
You know what? He was as good as advertised, and you know the chip on his shoulder was playing pretty big in his mind, because this is a team that opened up the last time he met with 6 straight hits. And all he did was say for 6 straight innings, he didn't give up a hit. So he got his revenge, and he led his team to a WBC championship game perfecta.
Stroman set the tone early, never gave the Puerto Rico lineup a chance at any momentum whatsoever. 6+ innings tonight, allowed just the 1 hit. The Pagan double was the last batter he faced in the 7th. Struck out 3, walked 1, and again set the tone for Team USA. One of 2 brilliant starts for Marcus Stroman in this tournament. Had a big start over the Dominican Republic, one that did not lead to a win, but he was terrific against the Dominicans 2 Saturdays ago in Miami. And again tonight, setting the tone in the championship game.
You know, and the pitching staff for the U.S. team had, the starters had a 1.25 ERA. That's good in any format, any tournament, and it was good enough for them to keep playing and get here and win it. Terrific job by the whole staff and the whole team, but the starters really showed what they were capable of throughout this tournament.
Team USA is on the podium as we get ready for the post-game celebration and the presentation of the tournament MVP. And again, not only am I struck by the congratulations and the handshakes by the Puerto Rico roster, but those guys are still all on the field to watch the presentation of the awards as well. So we're getting ready to send it down to the field. Greg Amsinger, take it away.
Matt, thank you very much. I'm down on the field with the champions of the 2017 World Baseball Classic, Team USA. Also with me on the stage, Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred, the skipper Jim Leland, the Executive Director of the Major League Baseball Players Association Tony Clark, Mike Gasky, President of Team USA, General Manager of Team USA, Joe Torre, the Hall of Famer, is also with us. And of course, the players of Team USA. It is time now for the official awards presentation. For that, I turn things over to Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred.
On behalf of all of us at Major League Baseball, I want to congratulate Team USA on its first ever World Baseball Classic Championship. And it is my pleasure and honor to present this trophy to the great manager of this team, Jim Leland.
Yeah, Jim, you might want to hand that off. I'm sure they'd like to hold on to it. Come over here, Jim. You've won a World Series in your incredible career. A moment like this, explain that emotion.
Well, this is what I'd like to say. I had the honor of managing for our country. The coaches had the honor of coaching for our country. The players had the honor of playing for our country. But this is for the men and women that serve our country. Thank you very much.
Jim, thank you. Now it's time to hand out the MVP for this World Baseball Classic. And for that, the Executive Director of the Major League Baseball Players Association, Tony Clark.
Thank you, Greg. Throughout the tournament, we saw unbelievable play on the field. We saw unbelievable at-bats at the plate. Tonight's performance by tonight's MVP was something special on the bump. It's with great pleasure and great pride that tonight's 2017 WBC MVP goes to Marcus Stroman.
Marcus. Hold them both. What an experience for you. Tell us what was going through your mind when you were plowing through their lineup without giving up a hit.
I was just doing everything in my power. It's a great offense on the other squad. Just doing everything in my power to change up timing, keep the ball down in the zone. Me and Lucroy had a game plan going into it, and just try to stick to it.
I remember the tweet in 2013 when you were like, I'm going to play for Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic. Here you are with the Team USA cap. What does this moment mean to you?
Yeah, I had to stay true to my roots. It's huge. It's huge. Just want to thank every single guy on this team. It's been a really special experience. Kind of developed lifelong friendships, and it's been really special. So shout out to the entire team for this.
What was the adjustment you made from the recent performance against Puerto Rico and that first inning, because you figured it out in that game and you took it to this one?
Yeah, I just left some pitches up in that last game. So just an emphasis on keeping the ball down, throwing off timing. That's a great team over there. It's an all-star lineup, 1 through 9. So you have to do everything in your power to just tame them.
Marcus Stroman, everyone, your MVP of the World Baseball Classic. A lot of guys. Christian Yelich, come here. Christian Yelich played an outstanding World Baseball Classic. When you found out you were on this team, and to see your name in the lineup, almost every single game you guys played, what went through your mind as this series continued?
I mean, I just love playing with these guys. They go out every night, doing anything we can to win. Bunch of grinders, and, it's just an honor to go out there and honor our country.
All right, so in 12 years, when you're a veteran in this game, and a young player comes up to you and says, I'm thinking about playing in the WBC, what was your experience like, Christian? What would you say to that young player?
Do it. It's the most fun I've ever had playing baseball. This group of guys was awesome. This experience, this crowd, behind us, couldn't have asked for more.
The greatest experience you've had playing baseball?
No joke, 100%. Like nothing even close. It was unbelievable.
You were fun to watch. Christian Yelich, everyone. I need Adam Jones. Do we have an Adam Jones? Yeah. I want to talk to you, man. Listen, you knew the pressure on Team USA to finally do this. The United States has won the World Baseball Classic. How important is it?
It's important to grace the field with these great men right here. I couldn't be prouder. I could not be prouder. Everyone that wanted to play is playing, and we brought it home for the United States. Tip our caps to Team Puerto Rico and everybody else in the tournament, but we did something special, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Last time you guys played Puerto Rico, it wasn't easy. Was there something said before this game going into the championship?
Should I tell the truth?
Yes, tell the truth. We want to know.
Tell the truth? Well, before the game, we got a note that there were some championships shirts made. We didn't make them. And a flight that didn't sit well with us. And a parade. It didn't sit well with us. So We did what we had to do. Strowman went out there and gave us his all. The players, they battled. The offense swung the bats. Hey, and we brought it home for the United States.
Adam Jones. Adam, thank you. One more round of applause to the champions of the 2017 World Baseball Classic, Team USA. Matty, back to you.
Greg, thanks. A terrific moment for Team USA in the history of the World Baseball Classic. The Americans hoist the championship trophy for the first time in tournament history. There have been some terrific rosters put on the field by Team USA for this event. Some very decorated players. It hadn't come together until this year. And again, I hearken back to folks talking about who wasn't here at the beginning of the tournament. The team that was here, turns out, was the best thing that U.S. baseball could have ever put on the field.
Yeah, and they had to overcome some things. If you think all the way back to the first game against Colombia, they were getting no hit. They were down 2-0. They came back, won that game. They had a 5-0 lead against the Dominican Republic. They lost that game. Every step along the way, there was a setback, and then they overcame. And ultimately, when they got here, they played about as good a baseball as you could expect to win this thing, winning a close game and then dominating this game in a championship form.
I love Christian Yelich's statement that this was the most fun he's ever had playing baseball. And, you know, you'd think he's going to have more experiences like this in the future, perhaps a World Series, maybe another WBC. I believe we'll be seeing this image a lot in the coming days and weeks of the WBC champs.
It's interesting. You get a chance to play in an all-star game, and you have that one day and that one moment. But you play on a team like this, you have 2 weeks and a lot more moments and a lot more memories that will last.
I mean, you could tick through the roster as we take some of the shots and just capture some of these images. The contributions were roster-wide, even for the players that didn't get a lot of at-bats. Marcus Stroman is the tournament MVP, and I'm sure there was a lot of consideration given to Adam Jones and Eric Hosmer and Brandon Crawford and some of the players that we discussed. And again, there were great contributions, great performances by players whose teams didn't get this far. So as the celebration continues on the field and we prepare for a full edition of MLB Tonight, JP is standing by with Hall of Fame manager Joe Torre.
Thanks, Matty. Here with Joe Torre, the GM. Proud are you?
It's unbelievable. You know, it's so much like postseason, except when you look on, you know, on the other guy's chest, they have a country there, and you look down and you see USA. It's something I've never experienced, and you know, just to have all these guys who come together from different teams just blend so easily. You know, even when we lose games, I mean, nothing ever shook them. They were just relentless. It was very special. I'm very proud of them.
The saying goes, Joe, that champions walk together forever. You know that from your time there with the Yankees. What do you hope is the legacy of this team?
Well, the legacy of this team is they have a memory that they can take with them wherever they go. It's something nobody can take it away from them. The experience they had, you know, Puerto Rico had a great run. Japan had a great run. We just felt pretty good about ourselves. You know, we played one game which really was under par for us as far as defensively and stuff, but these guys never were fazed by it. They just felt very confident in their ability and each other. I think that's the most remarkable thing for me is how unselfish all these guys coming together to form this team that Jimmy Leland led magnificently.
Joe, thanks so much. Congratulations.
Thanks, JP.
And Matty, before we go back to you, I want to tell you the story about this eagle we're seeing here. This was a gift that was given to the team by Luke Gregerson's father-in-law, a bald eagle that we're told the tradition was to rub the beak before players took the field, and certainly now a bit of a baseball legend now here in the United States of America.
Yeah, I would be curious, JP, and you know, I'm glad you filled us in on that because we've been seeing it throughout the tournament. I'll be curious where that goes now. Does Luke take it home? Does Marcus Stroman?
Maybe Cooperstown.
Maybe,
Cooperstown,
hey,
perhaps.
right now that's an idea. Or maybe to the MLB Network studios for a little tour as well. So, John, it's been a great time. It's been a great week. Thank you for being with me for this whole run. I'd like to thank our producer and director, John Moore and Chris Pfeiffer, our great crew, our research team, our production team. It's been a blast.
Yeah, it takes so many people to get this thing done. It started some 2.5 weeks ago, and I just can't even think of a better story and how it was written and how it ended up. It's been a fun 2.5 weeks, and now everybody, as you mentioned, gets a chance to go back to their team and try to do what the Cubs did last year and win the World Series.
Yeah, we start to think about opening day coming up in less than 2 weeks and turning toward the Major League season. The 2017 World Baseball Classic, the 4th running of the event, is complete. Congratulations to everybody, and congratulations to Team USA for winning their first ever WBC title. For John Smoltz, JP Morosi, Matt Vasgersian, our entire MLB Network crew, thank you for being with us for the last 2 weeks. The U.S. is the WBC champ. MLB Tonight is next.